Alrighty then. What's going on, everyone? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all you fine folks out there and everybody in the round table, if so to speak. All of the, let me see here. Let me just get this corrected here first. Let's test. See how we're doing here. Oh, yeah. What do you... Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. All right, she is working. Let's see. What's up? Let me do this. We'll just slide her over here. What do you think? Oh, yeah. Here we go. What's going on, everyone? What is happening? Another exhausting week. Probably should have had that video yesterday, but got tripped up a little bit. But anyway, we still got it out, squeaked it out just before we went on live. So it's that video that's been going all over the internet, the doorway on Mars. Pretty cool stuff, no matter how you look at it. But it's got a lot to do with size as well. Size does matter. So yeah, it has a lot to do with that, right? Because, you don't know if it's a doorway, you don't know if it's a vent, you don't know if it's, it's hard to tell, right? I think we all can agree that it's not a very big area. Of course, they don't give you, any kind of gauge so you can tell just how big this is, right? No ruler or any of that, sort. So, anyway, when you find folks are in there, I see Mimi's in there, and Josh D's in there, Marcel's in there, Josh Brannon, what's going on? Mr. Ricardo Petrazzi's in there. What's going on, Ricardo? What the hell is that? Oh, okay, it's just the way I went like to scroll with the wheel and it went, and then, yeah. Anyway, and it had how like a screen would go so quick it'd like double. Weird. Anyway, what's going on, Ricardo? Good to see you there. Let's see. Josh D says, thank you, Chris, for the vid just before. Now, still watching Jean, his last 25-minute one just placed 15 minutes ago. Yeah, he's been putting out some good stuff too. And again, he's the one that also checked that doorway on Mars thing. And what's funny about it is I think somebody had said on Facebook that it hit the mainstream as far as one of the big newspapers. I don't know if it was in the UK or where it was, right? It says NASA hasn't answered blah, 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 or anything about the doorway. They'll just say, it's just the way the rocks fell. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Swamp gas. Third Eye Opens in there. Hello, how are you? Good to see you in there. I don't know if that's pronounced Tojo? Melville, hiya, from England. What's going on? Good to see you in there. Mr. John Beck's in there. He says, hello, everyone. Oop. And this thing just went totally crazy on me, as usual. Let's see. Planetary Protector's in there. What's going on? He says, yo, peeps. Let me turn this thing up here a little bit here. That's a little bigger. It's like, everything's like, if you ever watch this thing in normal size, it's like everything's like this big, Especially on a decent sized screen, which I think this one's maybe, I think it's a 21 or 24 inch. I'm not sure on that one there, but yeah. Long Island, New York, 1395's in there. It says, what's up, everyone? What's going on, brother? Good to see you in there. Osiris is in there. It says, hello. Mars Leaks. What's going on, Mars Leaks? Enrico Viglione. What's happening? I got a Subway tuna sandwich for this hangout because it's going to be a special one. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Like I said, gots to have it. Gotta have it. Gotta quench the thirst. Not to mention the voice gets itchy after a while. Gotta have it. Yeah, see, I haven't seen that one yet. Ricardo just said the same thing. I'm still watching Jean Ward's video he just released. And that's the one, that's the follow-up, wasn't it? Because I think it was Joe as well as him that found a little bit more details to it. And, so the cool thing about it is, like I said in my video, it's good to see people getting different perspectives. In other words, other people are doing it, and they're all giving what they see. So they're pointing out what they see, and they're giving their perspective as to what they think it is, whether it's size-wise, what these anomalies could be, what it is, the main, which is the doorway. So yeah, it's cool to see more than one person do this. That's what it's all about. Get it out. That's what it's all about. So, Josh, he said, I'm chilling with vodka Red Bull with ice. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Of course, it may make you want to go out and paint the garage after with the Red Bull, you know what I mean? A breadcrumb for us, Mimi says. I think you're right. Somebody else has said something else. That they leave us something tasty or something along the line. Osiris says, but NASA deleted the high-resolution photo. Yeah, if you notice they have the black and white one with the grid over it. All you got to do is zoom into that photo. You can see it's got a grid, so it's really weird. I like the original. I know most people would, be against it, but I like the low-res original photos because there's the most detail you find. You go, how is that possible if it's low-res? Well, you'd be surprised. There's a lot of stuff in there that's there that they're trying to block out. But when they come out with the new high-res, quote-unquote, when I did the Gigapan, shooted a Gigapan from Joe, from our Alien TV, if some of you folks don't know who he is. And then, of course, you got Neville Thompson's. Neville Thompson's looks pristine compared to the black and white one, right? But as I said in the video, he loves to do the PDSs, which is the best one you can get, right? So it's the most brilliant detail and everything else. The problem with it is they've reworked it. So they've gotten a lot of the detail out of the photo, so you and I can't see the finer details in there. But we were able to pull out some of the stuff, which was good, right? And I like the idea of doing that, be able to pull some of this stuff out. So right there at the mouth of that doorway, there's stuff laying all over there. And notice how it's whited out. Like they put like a haze, like a white haze, or I don't know if they did it digitally or like an airbrushing thing, whatever it may be. It took the depth out of that ground surface at the foot of that opening. So the idea is to bring it back, Osiris, he said, I can't find it anywhere anymore online. They still have it. I'm trying to remember whether it was... it might have been, if you go to Joe's Gigapan, I believe, and I could be wrong, I don't know if it was him that had the actual... it's either him or Jean on their videos had the actual link to NASA's site. But again, it's black and white. It just has the opening, and it's got this weird grid over it like they like to do these photos. Why? Because if you put, like, picture a screen, your outdoor screen, like on a window or a screen door, like a storm door, and you're taking a picture through it, that's what it basically looks like. Why? To get rid of all of the other details that might be in there, and it blends them. You can't see them. They're slick, trust me. Okay, Mimi, you said Jean has the link. Okay. Rashomir Jones, you said, we ready, Chris? All right. Good to see you there, Rashomir. Daniel Lee, what's happening? He says, hi, good evening. Hope everyone is okay. And had a great week. Chris is here for the best. Hi, Chris. Hope you are okay. Danny from Liverpool. I'm doing good, Danny. Yeah. My week doesn't end, unfortunately. I got to go into work tomorrow, and it's just a cluster. Let's just put it that way. So we're just going to do one thing at a time when we get there. Hopefully we can get it done. Going to do a lot of sorting of things before I can even get started putting stuff on the shelf, so that's going to be a lot of fun. It's because there's another guy ordering from another store through us. It's bizarre. But when you have a lack of people on the weekend, it just makes it that much harder. So, yeah, a lot of fun. But we can handle it. We can do it. Pete, what's going on? Mr. Pete Ferrero's in the house. Says, hello, Chris, and everyone in the chat today. Buffalo, New York is at 85 and sunny. Ain't nothing wrong with that, brother. We're just starting, well, I guess it's right around 86. It's 86 degrees, and I think it was like, right now the wind is very light. It's like 2 miles per hour. But I can check it here, what it actually surged up to, because I can show you the actual, because the weather station I have is Wi-Fi set up, so I can check it anywhere I am in the world as long as I got a connection. So, oh, I love that. It's telling me everything there is to know about, what do you call it? Okay, shut up. Let's see. Let's turn those notifications off so we don't keep hearing that. Let's see. All right, so it's 4 miles an hour, and the wind gust was only like 6, so it's a breeze, right? Oh, Billy just jumped in there. Let me see, I just asked him if I can use I want to show you guys hold on, the preview to the Black Knight satellite, and I asked him for his permission because I'll get a copyright strike if I do not. Let me see here. What is going on with this? Okay. Do this. Hello? He says he's been trying to get a response from YouTube. I don't think I can tell him. The best way to do it is probably in a. Yeah, Billy. The only thing I can say is that if you get you'll get a notification saying that somebody might have copied or copyrighted your video, and all you have to do is just say allow or whatever. Pretty much easy. Yeah, it's Billy Carson, by the way. Let's see. Mars League says, what's up? Yeah, Mars, he said the size doesn't add up. I agree. So... Rody 89. Hi, Chris. What's going on? Good to see you in there. What's going on? Let's see. Let's. All right. He said this thing's going to be on fire. Of course, yours truly is in there as well. And so I'm going to show you the trailer to it, which is pretty sweet. Your Highness, what's going on? You said, Chris, that was a doorway, hands down. And it's truly, I'm the same way. I feel the same way. It absolutely looks like one. Or, depending on the size of this, it's either, like I said in the video, where we've speculated maybe there was a smaller civilization there, and that we're seeing that's what you see in front of that so-called doorway. Is it possible those are structures, and that is something larger that you can walk into? I don't know. Is it possible that the whole area is very small? It's nothing more than a ventilation shaft, and there's another smaller one on the side of it. That's where it gets crazy, right? Mimi reaction. Your question was soft disclosure? Oh yeah, I think so. Bush Corey, Gaz, what's happening? It says, give me an hour or so on a motorway and I'll be back, as Arnie would say. All right, sounds like a plan, brother. Okay, cool. Oops. Just tell him, I'll talk to him soon. I'm on a live feed right now. With you fine folks, I don't want to leave you guys hanging up here, be on this thing too long. But yeah, I even asked, I don't know if it was Jean's in there, I said if he wanted to jump in there tonight, he could do that. He's popped in there before, so. So yeah, he said he's going to check YouTube so that, if he can just give me the permission. But we'll still do it. And in worst case scenario, what will happen is they'll tell him to get a notification saying that, somebody might copyrighted your material. All he's got to do is say, that's fine, whatever. Got permission, whatever it is. Mags K, what's going on? Good to see you in there as well. He said, hi all, just saw it on Google. It's everywhere if you think about it, right? It's everywhere. Occam's razor, Switchblade rather. I keep wanting to say Occam's razor because that's the normal saying, but Switchblade said, you know, what's going on? Good to see you. You're saying hello to Joss earlier. Rashmi said, they getting smarter, Chris. Yeah, I mean, but it makes you wonder, why wouldn't they just block this out? Is it that, you know, meaning NASA, JPL, whoever's doing this, is it possible that they're just saying, you know what, this is what we'll do? If anybody questions it, we'll just say there's a bunch of rocks that kind of fell on top of each other, like on the left-hand side of that it looks like it kind of jumbled away, and it just appears to be an opening. And to me, it's just too perfect. You can't justify that and say, oh, there's just rocks that fell on top of each other. This thing looks like it was intelligently made, right? Fahim Khan, what's going on? From Pakistan, Karachi City. What's happening? Good to see you in there. Maybe I find folks all around on the globe here. That's awesome. Yeah, who else is supposed to be in there? No, it was Jimmy Church. I was Long Island, New York. I'm reading yours. His secure team was just on Jimmy Church. We also have Jimmy Church was supposed to be on with another girl who's like does a lot of UFO stuff. I'm trying to remember what her name was, which is, you know, she's pretty popular too. She has her own channel and everything else. And I'm trying to remember what her name is, and it's eluding me at the moment. But yeah, Jimmy seems pretty cool. Jimmy Church. Billy's on there. There's a lot of people on with Jimmy. He does a good show. Justy. Now Jean, his vid's in. LOL, all my attention is here. Sweet. Get rid of that. Justy said 25-minute third video on the door, LOL. Yeah, because he had done a follow-up and then another one. Because he said possible entrance or something of that sort. So, yeah. Another new person in here. We have Healer, Elmer Bay, FPV. What's going on? Rajmi, you're right. NASA will say, what you're seeing with your own eyes is an illusion. Yeah, swamp gas. You know, that's all it is. Yeah, it just plays on your eyeballs. Ryan Roberts, what's going on? Said, hey, guys. Healer says, good afternoon from Miracle Beach, BC, Canada. Oh, yeah. How's the weather up there anyway? It's pretty sweet down here, but we're going to get more rain and more rain and more rain, so you know how that goes. We had so much rain not long ago, I swear to God, I could have used a small rowboat to get to work. It's insane, but it is what it is, you know? Josh Brannon said, best channel on YouTube. Well, I appreciate that. Not sure that it is, but thank you. I appreciate that. Ricardo, he said, just checking. Did you all see the link I posted, or has the URL filter blocked it? Let me see. I know it wasn't that far up here, so I'm not seeing it. No, I'm not seeing it, Ricardo. That's one we just did it on Mimi. You said, Chris, check out Sol 3466. That was the actual, that was the Sol. And that was the Gigapan that I covered on, which is pretty sweet. Peter Ferrero said the door on Mars was good. Mars quake measured 5.0 across the entire planet. Things are happening. I think that planet's really alive, truthfully. You know, between every now and then you got a volcano erupting, And then they're getting these Mars quakes, and then all kinds of other weird sounds going along with it. Remember, the InSight lander picked up several weird sounds that sounds like it was coming closer and closer and closer, passed underneath it, and then kind of faded away. At least they want to say it's just wind. The wind was just building up, and then, of course, it just died down. A lot of this stuff sounds mechanical. Now, they'll say that some of the dust is hitting the seismometer, or it's hitting the lander, and this is what the seismometer is picking up. I get that, but it's only supposed to be dust. So in other words, they say like a 300-mile-an-hour wind is probably like 50 or 60 here, 50 or 60 miles per hour there, which is still pretty windy. You don't want to get pummeled by something like that, but I can't imagine it's picking up super large stones in order to do that. Dust and smaller, gravel type thing, I can see that. But the way this thing sounds, I let you guys listen to those recordings before. Well, I showed you the page and let you listen to it, but you can hear it's like, and then it keeps going, and somebody thinks it's bang, 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 and just making noise. It's just weird. There's just no way that's just wind playing on that seismometer as well as the lander, right? I just find that really hard to believe. Alien Tenno, what's going on? You said, hi, Chris and all. How are you doing, Alien Tenno? Josh D said, in my Photoshop version, I can add pixels to low-res originals, and then they're amazingly detailed. Yeah, they are. You can do that. Absolutely. Occam Switchblade says, huge fan of your work as well as the exposure of easily observable black budget lunar mining infrastructure. That's a fact. And I appreciate the kind words too. Occam Switchblade. Metalhead, what's going on? Good to see you there, man. Said perfect 72 degrees here in Los Angeles. That is pretty cozy. I like 75-ish. Okay humidity. It's like perfect, right? Unless, of course, you like it super dry, then it's not too bad. Oh, yeah. Ricardo, he said, solid 3466 is surely a smoking gun. Absolutely. Absolutely. Josh, he said, I can't wait for climate change. You guys are so lucky. 85, wow. LOL, chilly here in the UK. Yeah, for some reason it's always like chilly, like gloomy and kind of shitty over there, right? But, of course, it may be the time of year for you folks. And, when you're warm, we're freezing our butts off. So, yeah, it's kind of a trade-off. Cameron, what's happening? He said, how are you, Chris, on this Friday? I'm doing well, Cameron. How are you doing? Chilling with the family? It is the evening time, right? So, hopefully everything's well. Leslie Ann Warren, what's happening? Hi, all. Big hugs. What's going on, Leslie Ann? Elaine Millard's in there. Hi, Chris and everyone. Hope you're all doing well. I am, Elaine. I hope you're doing well as well. Good to see you in there. Straight 1100, I guess it is. In that doorway picture, the darker sand parts, they kind of look like they are covered up with a thin layer of moisture. They look wet. Yes, a lot of these areas are. If you look at a lot of these, most of the time you see hillside, right? You see like even if it's a rock outcropping, you see it coming down. You can see like moisture coming in between there. Not long ago, you folks remember they had even the Perseverance rover. You can see how it's, most of the time it's Curiosity because it's, being in the crater, at Gale Crater. You can see this thing, it looked like it was so saturated that it looked like mud more than it was just wet soil, right? So there's an abundance of water. I don't know. They're making it sound like, oh, it's really dry, really nothing happening there. And I don't believe that for a moment. I really don't. I haven't believed that for years. So, yeah. Edward Williams, thank you very much for your support. I appreciate you, man. He said, happy Friday the 13th. A lot of people go, I don't care. It's a number to me. But I appreciate that, Edward. That's cool. That's awesome. Ricardo Petrozzi says it's 52 degrees Fahrenheit, 88, well, 88%. So it feels a little warmer than 52 with the humidity there, right? Probably closer to what? Almost 60, feels like? Robert Orr, Nielsen, you said, did anyone see the footage of the Black Knight vessel over France? Damn, a fast mover. They sure as shit deleted it pretty fast. Really? I'm not aware of that. I didn't see that. I did, Mags. Because you said, Chris, maybe you can burn that entrance to see if there's anything there. I did all on the ground part of it, right there at the mouth of the entrance, and there's quite a bit of stuff laying there. And like I said in the video, I don't know whether they took stuff out from, if that is an entrance, if it was underground and they brought it out, or there's just stuff laying around, they brought it in. I don't know. Whatever it is more than just ground there. There's a lot of stuff laying there. I believe that whole area is not even a rocky area. I think it's being doctored up to look that way. I mean, how many times have we seen that? It's crazy, right? Whitebeard Sky Daddy, what's happening? Good to see you in there, man. This is Jean Ward's in there. I didn't see him sneak in. What's going on, Jean? Like I said, I don't know if you caught my comment, Jean, but I said you can jump right in there if you want to. You know, maybe bring up a couple of your recent stuff that you had done. Well, we've already pretty much covering the door entrance to, or the doorway to Mars. So if you have other stuff you've done recently, you want to, you know, bring it up on your computer and then jump right in there with us, I can bring you on there. So it's up to you. Electric Crystals, he said, please talk about the door they found on Mars. Yeah, everybody's doing this right now. And I just done, in fact, Jean Ward I'm talking about right now. He's in here as well. You can check out his video. Joe from Art Alien TV, he's done that. Thomas Mikey Jensen has done it. And it was a gentleman named Rami Ba Ilan who put it on Facebook. So there's a ton of people covering this. And God knows who else is covering it, because like I said, it just made it into one of the popular, I don't know if it's in the USA or the UK, I'm not sure, one of the newspapers. So pretty cool. Alien Tenny said, theory. Could we have made the opening on Mars? Like Diamond Cut to Me? Probably not. I would have thought maybe laser cut, but then you'd probably see that and just be like it just collapsed right there in the doorway. So I don't know. I don't think that this thing's very big. I think it's within, I'm going to echo what they said, it was like centimeters high, maybe 20 centimeters high. It's not very big. And I concur to a certain degree, because I don't know the exact measurement, but you can tell this is a very small area. It's not a very big swath of area at all. So whatever it is, again, it's hard to tell just how big this is. Let's say it was 10 foot, or 3 meters in the UK, roughly around there. It's still very small. It's not super big, and you think 10 feet, okay, how big would these things be? If they were these microstructures kind of thing, or is it just a pile of junk laying there and they just made it look like nothing but rock? But like I said, if you get into that video, I just done it, and I just posted just before going live, so if you haven't seen it, you can check it out after. And then, like I said, you'll see what I'm talking about. There's other junk laying there. And then there's another wall there. There was one that was on the right-hand side that several of these folks had pointed out. And then there's a much larger one on the left-hand side. And there's some junk, and it just scattered around that picture. So check it out if you haven't seen it. That's the end. You said, been working on photo, Chris. Very windy. To me, it's cold. Well, yeah, it can be. That would be pretty crazy, Metalhead, yeah. He said, your question was, what if the planets are actual cells from a huge being? Yeah, we're just like, you know. Remember, what was that? I'm going to try to remember that name of that movie. Was it Fantastic Voyage? Remember there was somebody that was ill and they shrank them down in this little, like a mini submarine. It was like microscopic, and they put it into their body, and they're being attacked by white cells and all this other stuff, antibodies and everything else. It was actually pretty cool for its time, right? I think I got that. Your question in Long Island, New York. He said, anybody hear about the public UFO hearing at the Capitol next week? I think I may have that page open. I've opened up several, so we can check that out. White Bear Sky Day. I was saying the very same thing not long ago. It's just swamp gas. Pretty much. Yep. A swamp door. Can't wait for the NASA trying to tell us it's just swamp gas. Well, I'm just wondering what they're going to come out with. What do you guys think? You think it'll be... It just happens to be a natural opening in the rocks. But like I said, you know better once you really dig into that photo and bring back the other things that are being hidden in those whited areas. And like I said, it's basically like they put like a ghosting or a hazing over these objects, and you can see the whited, like kind of like almost like a misty kind of thing going on over them. Clearly that's not natural. And that wall that I showed, and I'm not sure if anybody else has showed it, but there's literally a part of a wall, and you can see a nice straight line kind of drops down a little bit and goes across, and then there's one that's even fainter. It goes above it too. So there's two lines on this flat rock. You can see it's kind of like, almost like a concrete. It's been broken up. And then of course you've got this white area, nice and flat. It appears more like a wall than a natural stone or rock, right? Oops. Inner Space. There was another one too, though, Ricardo. But yeah, that may be the one you're talking about. That's a really good movie. As cheesy as it was back then, it wasn't a bad movie, right? ASK said, Chris, loved that film. Yeah, there was two of them. And Ricardo was correct about that one. I'm not sure if that was the actual one. But there was two of them. They're very similar, right? Inhabit Mars, you said, I lightened the walls on the inside of the doorway. They are very smooth, other than the cracks. It was definitely either carved or something sophisticated, or the inside area is concrete. I agree with you. Oh, okay, Jean. What you said, thanks for the invite to dial in the Hangout, Chris. I'm not looking my best at the moment. Short notice, rain check for next time. Yeah, sure. Well, I was just thinking, even if you didn't want to actually show yourself, you can actually say, I got a couple pictures I can show you guys, if you wanted to. But yeah, the invitation's always open to you, Jean. You know that. Anton Levy. I guess it's Levi or Levy. I'm in UK. We do feet as well as miles per hour on all our road signs and car rev gauges instead of kilometers. Oh, okay. All right. I know not everybody's like that. That's why I try to do both if I can, Metalhead, you said Mars is inhabited. Absolutely. And here's the thing. Every time you see it, you go, okay, it's one thing for the surface to be completely decimated, right? But when you see things that they could hide into, I had done a video a while back, what looked like a cover that opened up, and you can go into the ground. It looks like an absolute cover, like almost like a manhole cover, only sticking out of the ground. So it's, who knows? It might have been both. How do we know it wasn't, like when the planet was normal, meaning non-destroyed, that didn't have both anyway, above and below ground? We have that here on Earth. So if there's a major meteor strike or something on this planet, and pretty much, planet killer or whatever, you could bet people would live. They'd help and scavenge what they could, take it underground, and hope for the best, right? And of course, if you look at all these DUMBs, these deep underground, structures, that they have food for years, so they wouldn't have to worry about it either. So the human race would survive, unless, of course, it was big enough to crack the planet in half. Well, then you're pretty much SOL. Yeah. Josh, you said cable went out. Oh, you're talking about your internet? Is that what you're saying? Metalhead said, fantastic voyage, watched every episode. There you go. I want to jump all the way down to the bottom here. Man, everybody's getting all these new toys, these motherboards and all kinds of stuff. I'm getting a little jealous here, guys. Come on now. Mick Gustafsson, what's happening? Good day, you fine people. Hope you all had a great week. I missed a few weeks. Great to be back. Good to have you back, Mick. Really. That's awesome. I was just happened to went back up a little bit. Oh, he's back. Sweet. Pete Ferrari said the story of the Anunnaki using Mars is starting to come into view. Yeah, they claimed that they were using that as well for either resources or they lived there as like a temporary home, if you will, right? They also said there was warring. They warred with other civilizations on the moon, at least according to their writings. Is this true? Like I said, I find it hard to believe that a lot of ancient people just made this up and said, don't get me wrong, maybe there was, like I said, sci-fi writers back in the day. They look up at the stars and say, what happens if they could travel upon the stars? But they'd have to be these, what would you call them? What would they call them back then? Spaceships? I don't think so. Or maybe like they used to, you know, if you look at if you read Eric von Daniken's book, Chariots of the Gods, they could have called them chariots. Whatever. Stuff they had on the planet at the time, they would probably try to utilize that in this word, whatever they have, like chariots or whatever, and called a UFO a chariot as opposed to a UFO. You know, that's a modern day, you know, terminology, so. But is it really though? Dun dun dun. Mr. Seven Digit, what's going on? He said, hey there, Chris. What's going on, Mr. Seven Digit? Good to have you in there. Oh, okay, Josh, you said, yeah, been off the last 20 minutes. That sucks. Yeah, I hate that. Because like I said, usually when we have super bad storms, I'll inform you guys that I won't be on. I mean, you heard me on here before. But you're really taking the chance. I mean, if I get static electricity, I'm filtered out. You take a direct hit, there's no filtering anything out. You're pretty much, again, SOL. So, when you got some money wrapped up into the computers and stuff like that, and, you know, the last thing you want to do is fry everything you own, then you're like, okay, time to start from scratch. It's like, that's not good. So, I'm better off. And everything I have, I just shut down. I got actually switches and to shut the whole bench down. And I'm talking every individual computer, so it's not just on one, you know, power strip. They each have their own switches and everything else, so everything gets shut down. No chance of getting stuff blown up, unless, of course, again, a direct hit, because it can always jump over that switch as well, right? If you get hit just right. So. Well, in New York, you were following up. You said congressional public hearings next week for Pentagon officials about the UFO problem. I hope it's not the same BS runaround they always give us. Yeah, I'll show you what I was talking about. There's one page in there that says, oh, you know, they're checking out UFOs, but it's not aliens. So, of course it's not. It'll never be. But maybe they know. They're built right here on Earth. Mimi said, I hope this is the first step to disclosure. I agree with you. It's always been a slow drip kind of disclosure, but we're hoping it accelerates a lot faster. I think a lot of people are being teased by, you know, Mr. Lou, as far as all these UFO things and the stuff he's going to give us. It's just like I said, it's like leading a donkey there with the carrot in front. It's just, come on. I gotta stay in the loop, so I'll keep making up stories here. I don't like that shit. I don't like it at all. That's a great question. Renee V, what's going on? You said James Cragen? Question mark? Yeah, where's he at? Josh, you said, gotta go. Have a great night, world. Remember, we are all different, sound different, look different, but we're all human. God bless. All right, Josh, try not to get too tipsy. I know what you mean, though. Have yourself a good one. Be safe, and we'll catch you on the next time, right? Catch you on the old flip-flop. Flip side? And a flip-flop. Either way. Mr. 786 Auto, what's going on? Good to have you in there. Good to have you in there. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, Rico, yeah, it says, safe unless you get ball lightning. Well, yeah, like I said, direct hit, unless you're unplugging everything out of the wall. But like I said, I like to shut everything off, just main switches too, not just that. Stone Rabbit, what's going on? Good to see you in there. Ricardo said there was a video of the house getting hit by lightning this week. The Lindenberg pattern is left in the yard was a crack. Wow, large and deep. There was one it's right here in the next town over. Just as you're getting on this bridge, on this overpass, there was the lightning hit the ground, and my God, it opened up the whole hillside. Good God. It literally could have put a subcompact car into it. No, I'm not even BSing you. I was like, wow, that is crazy. Mimi Reaction said, I wonder if security team will report about the door. I think he will. Because it's making the rounds. You can almost guarantee he will. Almost guarantee it. Ricardo. If we know James, he'll sure let us know when he gets there. Pretty much. So Dell, you said while Elon Musk has said he plans to have a city on Mars by 2050, and a Bebo, I guess it is, spokesman told Popular Mechanics there isn't yet an exact year. To me, I'll be truthful with you, I think it's going to be sooner. The way they have the reusable rockets, he wants to accelerate. You know, he's saying that is the deadline, or like he'd like to do that. But when you say civilization, I mean, or a city at least, it doesn't have to be very big, right? So just get astronauts on it, get acclimated, whether they put down 3D structures first or live in something that's already there. Regardless of that, they can be able to go there, have their food supply. They'll probably have it on the craft, so in case they can't grow anything soon enough. And keep in mind, this has to be every 2 years because Mars is closest to Earth every 2 years. This is the reason why you see these missions doing that, right? You don't see them just doing random, oh, we're going to do this in 6 months or a year. Every 2 years. Short amount of fuel, less distance, there you go, right? So I think he's going to try to push it even further. And I don't mean because he's going to try to accelerate it more and more. I think it's just that's the way the advancements are going, and I think it's just going to be prior to that. I mean, you know, you're still talking about, what, 7.5 years from now? Things can change a lot in just 2 to 3, let alone 6 to 7 years, right? Yes, James, what's going on? Good to see you there, brother. Thanks as always. He's always a contributor and supporter of the super chat in the channel. I appreciate you. Say hello, Chris, and everyone tonight. I was MIA last week due to me being in the wedding, but I am here tonight and ready to rock my great friends. Or with your great friends, depending how you look at it. But yeah, I appreciate that, James, and glad to have you back. Yeah, you got to do what you got to do. You know what I mean? Personal lives always first. Whether it's a friend, whatever it may be, that's awesome. Good to have you back, James. Alfie Joe Bob, what's happening? Good to see you in there as well. Mr. Mike Knapp's in the house. What's going on, Mike? Good to see you there. Ali Khan says, I have some info. Oh, please share. Pete Ferreira said, search for underwater alien bases is not extensive enough. Oceans hold a lot of secrets as well as Antarctica. I agree with you. And we didn't cover, but I think it's only, what, 10% of the oceans? And I mean like the deepest, so I think we can really, really do it. But here's the thing I'm thinking. They're using these radar and satellite images, right, to penetrate the ground like in the Amazon jungles. And, of course, they can look in shallow waters up to X amount of feet, and they can see this. So this is the reason why they're finding things just offshore in some of these, off these countries, off the mainland, and they can see, structures underwater, things buried in these, like Amazon jungle. So the technology's come a long way, and this is the reason why they've been able to find these more and more, right? Which I find really cool and interesting at the same time. So, we'll see. Ellie Kahn, you said all of the orbs seen all over our planet 24/7. Well, they were saying there was a write-up, and I think it's one of those articles that I have, where it said during the pandemic, when most people were in the house, there was a lot more people looking to the skies, right? And this is when they found a lot of these more UFO activity. But I'll show you the page. It's really ridiculous because they're like, well, a lot of it could be chalked up to birds, bugs, which is true. I mean, but you could tell how a bird or a bug flies close to it because it's if it's right next to your lens, whether it be a telescope or a camera, right? Now, obviously, more of a distance away, you're going to see it like, you can actually tell a bug from and a bird from a UFO. Some not so much, but a lot of times you can. So, of course, they're going to chalk it up to this BS. You know that, right? It's just crazy.
I'm gonna take it myself. Hopefully I don't get lost.
Let me see here. All right. Let's see. MG Toe, what's happening? Good to see you in there. He said, Musk is stupid buying Twitter. Twitter's nothing more than a software program on a hard drive just like Facebook. Total real worth about 150. Musk can start 1,000 Twitter like email services. Oh, yeah, most definitely. Well, I think he wants to do it because of this free speech no longer being free, right? And being filtered and censored and so on and so forth. And I think he's right for buying it as far as that goes, because you should be able to post something without having this BS going on, right? With the constant censoring. Now, I get things like anything that's brutal, right? I don't care if it's an attack on women, if it's gang fighting, people showing blood and everything else, or attacking animals, cruelty to animals, things like that, yeah, of course. But if it's just like free speech, like if you're doing videos like this or, something innocent and everything else, even if it's slightly political or whatever, come on. Whatever happened to free speech, man? It's like we're going backwards in evolution. It's like we're going completely, it's going retarded, basically, right? There's no need for it. Ali Khan, you said the moon was created by advanced beings. Well, that seems to be the consensus when you really check out the weirdness of the moon, right? The size of the moon and when it goes into, full eclipse, all this other stuff. The size of the moon compared to its hosting planet, which is Earth, compared to other moons. And it's just, it's really weird, right? And some of the metals, that like titanium they found in the moon, how it rings like a bell, it's just... Yeah, there's a lot of freaky stuff going on about our moon, and it may not be our moon. Maybe it's an observation platform. Ooh. Danielle Riverin, I guess I'm pronouncing that correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong. Good to see you in there. Hello again, Alfie Joe Bob. You said hi, Chris. Mistreated Bride, he said, love you, Chris. I tried to get my husband into this, but he thinks I'm crazy. How was your week? Anything interesting? No, just work. Work is always interesting. And not to mention, I had a Problem with my car, which was very interesting to say the least. Anybody who's had this issue, and I'll tell you this now, how many people, just out of curiosity, because I don't have to get into this conversation, how many people here own a Toyota? I don't care if it's an SUV, a hybrid, or any of that sort, just out of curiosity. Robert Nielsen, he said, Chris, the movie Inner Space, 1980. Damn, that's like 34 years ago. Mind-blowing, isn't it? Exactly. And when you watch the movie, it's actually pretty good for its time. I mean, special effects, not so much. But you expect that for what they had back in the day, right? But still, it was a good, good movie. Mars Lakes, he said, did some shallow research on a Grand Canyon. It has some crazy features. Said it is now protected by the state. Well, they said there's even Egyptian carvings and statues somewhere in the actual Grand Canyon areas, and that's why they have it kind of basically, I don't know if I want to use it quarantined off, but actually blocked off for the public. There's more going on than people think over there. I wouldn't mind having those, one of those, Ricardo. My buddy's got one of those. He said, I used to own a Toyota Yaris, great little car. Yeah, there was one guy that works for Coca-Cola here. He had that thing, it was a company car. And that thing had over 200,000 miles, boom, start right up. I think the body was rotting off it before the engine quit. I mean, of course, they maintained it religiously, you know. Oil changes, trans service, all that other good stuff. Metalhead, you said, I have a Toyota Tacoma 2007. Okay. I haven't driven since 1992. Mr. David Gossamer, what's happening? Good to see you in there. He said, I haven't driven since 1992. Renee V says, hit the fun button. Wouldn't that be cool if it actually had fun button? That would be pretty sweet. Then people would go, what's the fun button? Anyway, I'll pass this by you guys. Like I said, anybody who has a Toyota, this is what was funky. I've got a Prius, and I go to start this thing up the other day, and it says check PCS system. Now, if you don't know what that is, you may find this on your screen one day, and it's the pre-collision system. Okay. Now I'm going, oh my God, what is this thing? What the hell could it be? I had like 5 or 6 lights on, everything from traction control, ABS, the regular brake. I mean, just sorting them out of stuff. You couldn't use cruise. None of that shit would work right. Everything was like completely kaput, right? I'm like, oh, okay. Car still drove good and everything else. And, you know, it has nothing to do with the engine. So I'm driving around. Everything's cool, right? So I'm like, but the brakes weren't 100% because it's not getting this assistance from all this other digital, you know, high-tech stuff. But it was fine. So I said, well, you know, just for the heck of it, you know, I had to wait because I was working and everything. I've got my own testing, you know, tool for scan codes and everything else. Well, I'm looking at the thing and I'm like, okay. While I'm there, I went to go pick up my son from work, and there was an Autopart store. I'm like, hey, I'll have them scan it, right? So I go in there and I said, yeah, you think you can scan this for me? I'm telling them what's going on. They put the thing on there. They put it in the OBD too, of course, and the connector, and they check it. And I said, okay, this is like, oh, it's got a screen this big, right? It's funny because it says, it has like 3, these ovals lit up green, and there was like 5 of them that were red. I said, can you even read these things? She said, one says MIS. I'm going, MIS, misfire? What the hell? So then she's reading a couple of, I really can't see these. I said, she goes, well, I'll tell you what, let me clarify. I said, you're not going to clear that. So she went like this. She got in there, it says clear codes, of course, question mark, yes, nothing. I said, I told you couldn't clear it. So I take off, and I said, fine. So finally I get time. I've got mine here, and this is the FX2000 OBD2 and EOBD plus CAN and cell. Okay, and you can see it. I don't know if you'll be able to see it that well. No, probably not. No, won't be able to see it. It's going to block it right out. But anyway, so you can see that there, and I'll show it to you here in the box. Good little unit, I'll tell you that. It cost me like $150, right? So this is a nice little piece here. Huh, nothing like a good piece. Anyway, so this is a good size unit, you know. I mean, you can see it's pretty hefty. It's pretty decent size little, it's got the connector here and all that. And so I use that, and of course, it covers everything. UK as well as I think Canadian models and USA, right? So I looked this thing up. I get on there. Well, I get on the thing, and I had this thing for about a year and a half. Let me just backtrack. Had it for about a year and a half, 2 years. When I bought it, I went on the site and I just downloaded the latest software. So when you get on it, of course, you can pick any vehicles, anything from Opals to whatever, right? Get in there, Toyota. Okay, then it loads everything, gets it all from the ECU, and of course it checks it all. And then it says you can either diagnostics, scan, or whatever. So I hit scan, and of course it says automatic transmission or manual. Of course it's automatic. I can do this, and poof, shows it instantly. Give you guys 3 guesses what it was. Here's the thing. Let's just say the auto parts store was clueless, and it was a piece of shit, to be honest with you. What was funny, you guys said you could still, you lost me. How did you lose me? Should be, no, it's still working. So anyway, so they had an issue with their, code readers. Like I said, it was trash. Anyway, so when I did this, it literally came up. As soon as it came up, it said rear speed sensor. That simple. Didn't have all this mix mash BS crap and everything else. And right rear speed sensor. So I was like, okay. I had bought 2 of these. Here's a funny part too. I go into the auto parts store. This is after I did this. Is like the next day. Hey, can you guys give me a price on this? Yeah, sure, we can look it up for you. For some reason, we can't seem to find the rears for that Toyota. He said, but it is a Prius. I went, listen, hold on a minute. A lot of sensors are being used by a lot of other vehicles. This is not just a one-off thing. These sensors are being used. So anyway, he said, yeah, I can't find it. I can find the front ones. The sensors, get this, are like $263. However, if you're familiar with cars, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's basically the whole knuckle and bearing and the sensors built in. Well, guess what? So is the rear. So the bearing, you had to buy it, the hub itself, and it's built into it. Well, I had bought 2 of them like a year and a half ago, whatever, because it sounded like some noise in the rear end, and I said, well, let me go ahead and get it done. So I did that, and I kept the other one. There you go. Had an extra one, brand new one. Brought it down to one of the guys I go to. He's a great guy. He's got a good shop. Cost me like $42 to change it out. I mean, and you can do these pretty easy. The problem where I live, you cannot work on cars. They don't want any kind of trash going on in here, which is good. But it doesn't help because I could do it and probably knock it out in like 30 minutes. Problem is they don't want you working on it, or they'll be like, oh, okay, we're going to have to give you a little, spanking, and then, if you do it again, we'll have to send you out. So not good. But thankfully I had the thing, but having the proper scan tool makes a bit of difference. I've got one that's a cheapy one. I think they're like $79, a little pocket one. But all it does is this engine codes, which the one I have here, I just showed you, that one there does, obviously, engine codes, ABS, airbags, and transmission. What more could you want? So it does it all for $150. So maybe worth it. It makes all the difference in the world, because these people, when I went onto these forums on there, the people were like, oh, the Toyota's having me fix this part and fix that part, and oh my God, it's a nightmare, and I try to reset it and I can't do it. It was just an absolute pandemonium on there. I'm going, I just use my scan tool and just like that. As soon as I reset it, or they reset it after putting the hub in, it's all cleared. It's been fine. Never had an issue with it since. What's going on there, Ultra Vibes? Good to see you in there. And so Adele, he said, if you see RSA display on your dashboard, that means that the system has been enabled and is currently in use. I've never seen RSA on there. Leslie Ann, he said, you're back, Chris. I lost you. Like, I was going to say, as far as I know, I'm streaming here, and I don't think anything's quit here, but it's hard to tell with the powers that be, right? But yeah, so just a little bit of heads up if any of you guys have a Toyota, because mine's a 2011, okay? And mine is the version, or I guess they call them different tiers of Toyota Prius. Mine's the 5th one, which is the best one you can get, and it has the tech package. So it has adaptive cruise, adaptive lane change, or I should say lane, keep you in the lane and everything else. It pretty much does everything. I mean, it's really wild. All right, Mistreated Bride, you said, you're fine, we can hear you. Oh, cool. That's what I like to hear. Ricardo said, what do you think about the right to repair legislation Louis Rossman is trying to get passed? I'm not, to be truthful, I haven't been following up on it, so I don't really have an opinion on it, Ricardo. I mean, unless it's something I heard and I'm just drawing a blank on it. If you want to elaborate a little bit, yeah. Because truthfully, I haven't really been watching any TV. Haven't really been, I really haven't had the time, being truthful, totally truthful with you. Yeah, Danny, the way that it is the complex that I live in, they don't allow you to work on it, which I get and I love it, because I'll tell you what, if you ever been to some of these, you know, these areas that, you know, it's a complex or anything like that, where it's, you know, it's wide open, it's a real nice area. People got engines on their lawns, you know, antifreeze all over the place, you know, and they wonder why their next door neighbor's dog or cat died, and just weird stuff. So, okay, Whitebeard Sky Daddy said, Lewis's YouTube course. Okay, I got you. I'm just not familiar with it, to be truthful. TV is long gone, Mars League says. But it's good to, like I said, I figured I'd give you guys a heads up if you happen to see this. If you don't have the proper scan tool, you probably should invest in one. Because I'll tell you what, that's the first time I used that thing, and it just saved me a ton of money and aggravation. Metalhead, you said, I sold Toyotas for 14 years at a dealership. Always busy. Yep. Oh, okay, yeah. Ricardo, yep, right to repair. I got you. In fact, it was, what's his name, too? You guys ever watch Scotty Kilmer? He's been a mechanic for like 50 years. I watch him every now and then. He's a trip. But he was talking about that, how they want to make sure you can't work any kind. It's like, who the hell do these people think they are? I don't get it. It's like, by God, are you kidding me? Buddy, I'll work on my car anytime I want to. It's probably the reason why they keep getting more and more sophisticated. So you have to bank on them to get your car fixed, therefore more revenue. Almost sounds like what? The Drug Administration. Imagine that. Think about it. No, we don't want to give you the proper fix. We want to give you a Band-Aid. So, yeah. By God, if I can work on my own car, I will. Here's the thing. Even at the worst case scenario, let's say you don't know how to work on a car. It's good to still have the scan tool, because you could check it yourself, walk into a mechanic, and say, this is what's wrong with my car. If you can confirm it with your scan tool, great. It just narrowed down the time for them to diagnose your car, because some of these places get $80 to $100 an hour. So I went in there, and I already know the place well. I said, if you want, you can go ahead and just grab your scan tool and check it. Sure and shit, he came up with the same exact thing, and I could claim my own code with it. Problem with it is, the second you drive around 20 feet, boom, it trips back on, because why? You have a faulty bearing, and I think that's what it did. It lunched out the actual sensor built into it. So it needed to be changed out, so regardless. So, yeah, so it worked out well, and it saves you money. You know, don't go out and get one of those little cheapy little shit things. Dragon City Demo says, nice to see you, Chris. So I appreciate that, man. Good to see you in there. Whitebeard Sky Daddy, you're familiar with him too. Yep, Scotty is awesome. It's funny. What do they keep saying about him? If you don't tie his hands, you can't talk. That's funny. Mistreated Bride, what's your thoughts on, your question was, what's your thoughts on American versus Japanese cars? I'll be honest with you. I've had, no word of a lie, if you're familiar with, a lot of people in the UK are, if you're familiar with opals, I had the Opal from across the big pond, and I've had the Buick Opal. Okay, Buick Opal was imported by GM, but it has the Isuzu motor in it. Okay, so good cars. I've had Toyota Corollas. It was like a '79 Toyota Corolla. Love that car. Absolutely loved it. I've had an Opel Manta. Great car. I wish I could find another one. I love it ergonomically. It was how it was set up, and the dashboard, and it looked like a little Ferrari in the rear end with the back lights. It was a '73 Opel Manta. Let's see. Chevy Love pickup, which also had an Isuzu motor in it. I like foreign cars. Why? They treat me right. I love General Motors to a certain degree. I love Chevy first. Most people say I love Ford. To each his own. And as far as trucks, I have no need for trucks, but I've had them. I'm not a big fan because it doesn't, well, I always tell people I buy things that fit my lifestyle, right? So I think a lot of foreign cars are nice because they're very reliable. This is the reason why I see Toyotas up the yin-yang. They're everywhere. Now, has the American manufacturers come far? I'll tell you what, I recently had to, I didn't have to, but I wanted to. I rented out a Chevy Malibu. It was pretty much brand new. I think it had like, was it 5,000 miles on it? I was very impressed with it. I went from my state up to Michigan, 40 miles to the gallon. Full-size car. But you got to just keep it within eco range. And it was a 1.5 turbo, ran good, full-size car, 40 miles to the gallon. It's all on how you drive it. Now mine, I get on the average, city and highway, mostly stop and go, 47 miles to the gallon. Now I've seen 57 miles to the gallon in my car because it's more highway. So, and it's all in how you drive it, and everything else. It has a lot to do with, how you drive a car. But my daughter's got a Chevy Cruze. It's a 1.8 turbo. Yeah, it's a 1.8 turbo. And she's like, oh my God, my car gets shitty gas mileage. I went, that's because you got that lead foot. You got that concrete block on your foot. And she said, oh, no. So we went and drove to the airport to get my oldest daughter. We're all piled in the car, there's 4 of us, to go and get her. I said, look at it says right here, miles per gallon, average. She said, yeah, whatever. 43 miles to the gallon. I said, you need to learn how to drive your car. It's all in how you drive it. Yeah, I mean, I like reliability. Stone Rabbit said American cars are mostly shit. Well, and they are, and that's the sad part. I'm not saying every car on the road is, because that's not true. However, they are coming a long way, and they have come a long way. They just don't have the fuel economy. Like I said, though, the Malibu, nice. If I could buy one on the, well, when I say on the relatively cheap, I'd do it. But I got a Mitsubishi fully electric car, and I got a Toyota hybrid. Now, I've had everything. Oh my God, let's go way back. Let's see, 79 Cordoba with the 318. I've had, oh God, everything from, what was the other ones? Mercury Monarch, which is basically a Ford Granada. I had a Grabber Maverick, factory 302, air conditioning, bucket seats, the whole 9 yards. I mean, I had a lot of American cars, absolutely loved them. You know what I mean? And as long as you treat them right, and they've been treated right to begin with, they usually last. I know a buddy of mine who had a Chevy Nova, has had the 250 straight six, and that thing had over 300,000 miles on it. All in how you take care of it. So, yeah. Jean Horty said, I must admit I'd love to buy a Mustang. I'm just like, meh. I'm just not a big fan. I'm one of these guys, and I'm sure you've seen these people, maybe some of you guys are like this. I don't like to be the mainstream. I want to be different. Now, of course, Toyota Prius isn't different, but the electric car is as far as the one I have. There isn't another one I've seen at all. So, it's the cool part of just standing out. Now, you can either hate the car or like the car. Doesn't really matter. The thing is, it's like, I like things that are different. So the Mustang is cool and all. I don't know, I'm just not a super big fan of them. Everybody's got them. Remember like the old IROC Zs? Everybody's like, oh my God, those are the bomb. If you had one back then when you were the first guys, you were like God walking on water, man. You were the shit. Then everybody got them. Man, not special anymore. They're nice cars, fun cars, don't get me wrong. You know, driving down the highway doing about 160 with your hair on fire, ain't nothing wrong with that. I'm just, they're so, just everybody's got them now. Mimi reacts, she said German cars are very good. Well, a lot of them are. James Cragen, thank you again for your support, brother. I appreciate you. He said, Christoph, it's the Friday the 13th, the anniversary of Friday the 13th, 1307, when King Philip got the Knight Templars burned at the stake. First bankers to burn. Man. Well, if you think about it, who runs this planet? Bankers. I mean, it's the elites, right? Those have been awaiting what? A smoking gun. Somebody commented on the YouTube video. We should look here. So they're looking at the video I just posted about the doorway type thing. Ford Capris, those weren't bad cars. Of course, they had the Mercury Capri here. Might be the same thing. They were a little different. A little different in the States, depending on, you know, what you had. Danny East, you said I had three or third generation Camaros, so-called IROCs. Well, yeah, I mean, remember the ones that too, it's funny. A buddy of mine got one, he says, oh, I got a Camaro now. I'm like, oh, wow, that's cool. It was like a, oh God, what was this thing, an 85. And as soon as he pulled up to my house, I laughed at him. He goes, what are you laughing at? I said, dude, I can see the little flag on the front of your hood. He said, what the hell do you mean by that? I don't know if it was the red, white, and blue little, it looked like a little stamp, a little steel plate on the front of the hood of the car. I said, dude, you got a 4-cylinder. How sad is that? He looked at me and said, oh, yeah, it is, but it runs good. I went, oh, my God. I wouldn't even bothered. That thing can't get out of its own way to save its life. Nope. Third eye open. You said my first car was a 65 Mustang Fastback. Now, that's a real car. I know a lot of you guys will agree, and girls, of course. Simplicity at its finest is the way to go. But they want to, I mean, nothing's really changed, right? If you look at the common engine, what does it do? It suck, compress, bang, blow. That's basically what an engine does. However, we just manage it better now. The fuels, the air intake, the mixture of the fuel and air. So the same thing a carburetor used to do. Only difference is it's all computerized. Give me something plain Jane. You know, I don't care what it is. Let's bring back a simple 69 Camaro. Some of them had the 305s in them. Some of them had the 350s. Some of them had 396, depending on what it was. Super Sport or whatever it might have been. Bring back something easy to work on. Who cares about the gas mileage? They ran good. Metalhead, you said I had an 82 IROC. A great car, though. They weren't a bad car. Like the IROC Zs. You know, great looking cars. They were very wimpy back then. They were thinking 180, 188 horsepower V8. But still, back then, that was respectable power. You know, now you got V6s and 4-cylinders. Got like 150 turbo. You know, little 4-bangers. Kurt Abanis, been a while since I've seen you there. I don't know how long you jumped in there. You said the 1999 Camaro was very weird. It looked like a Honda Civic. Yeah, some of these things are just, the styling and it was just really weird, right? Metalhead, you said my first car was a 68 GTO. I remember I got an engine out of there. It was the 400. It had the 4X heads on it. I don't know what yours had, but it had the 400 turbo transmission. I bought it out of a wrecked car. I think the ass end of it was wrecked. I put it into a Buick Century. Remember the old Buick Centuries? Kind of looked like, the one I had looked like the Buick Century. You can't think of like the older Monte Carlo weight. This one here looked like it had like the Cadillac Seville where it sloped in the back. So there was no back window and then trunk. It was like sloped. And this thing came factory with the 305. Well, I had my buddy take it out. And we worked on it. We threw this thing in. He said, dude, I can't get this thing in there because clearly the motor mounts are going to match. You know, we'll just weld it to the frame. Got it just right, welded to the frame. Oh my God, that thing was a beast. It was 330 horse, 370 foot-pounds of torque in that car. It was absolutely insane. Talk about a sleeper. It had spoked hubcaps on it. It was a four-door, too. People are going, I'm going by, and he hears blub, 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 blub at the light. They're like, yeah, that's a 305. Sure it is. Yeah, it is. I just turned the idle down. Sure you didn't. John Ward, you said, I agree, Christy. Good old days of working on your own car are long gone with everything being computerized now. Yeah, it's sad. It really is. Just give me something easy to work on. So Odell, he said the Ford probe that arrived in the late 80s is considered the Capri's replacement by many. But we think you'll all agree that its design is quite a match for that legendary Capri. Well, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, the Ford Probe had the lowest drag coefficient. They made it for the least amount of drag efficiency to get the best gas mileage and performance, right? So those were funky looking cars, but they were good little cars. Unless, of course, you were a young kid and you beat the crap out of them, then they didn't last long. Yeah. Well, any kid that gets into a car to beat the hell out of it. Whitebeard Sky Daddy says, yeah, people don't realize that squeezing all that power out of a four-cylinder is shorter life. That's true. That's absolutely true. Yeah, you can't beat the hell out of these things and expect them to last, forever. There we are, guys, the Black Knight satellite beyond the signal. And yours truly, right there, middle of the screen. Well, not in the middle because there's Billy's head, but right about the 2 o'clock position there. Got Eric Von Daniken in there, Duncan Lunan, Roderick. You got all these people in here. Jimmy Church is in there, Thomas Jensen. We got Richard Dolan. You got where's he at? Where's he at? I don't even see him in there. Well, Jimmy's in there. There's somebody else I was thinking of. Maybe it wasn't. But yeah, cool. I'll show you this, guys. I don't know if this will play. Hold on. Let's make sure here.
We're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots in the west. Look at that thing, dude.
You know, you're dealing with all of these objects that are hanging out over your sensitive military installations, nuclear facilities, and now you're seeing objects in orbit.
After I enhanced it a little bit more, I could see that there was almost 2 halves to this craft. This is something that is intelligently made.
Somebody is watching us. We should at least know who it is and why.
The watchers are called the messengers.
Yes.
They keep watch on us because they're thinking, well, perhaps they're not going in the right direction.
This is an actual NSA document. They are talking about communication through specific frequencies and then how we could communicate back with ET.
Houston, this is Discovery. We still have the alien spacecraft under repairing.
This Black Knight is somehow correlated with the Vultus constellation.
I think there's a lot more to it.
An early reptilian race brought this satellite into orbit.
These so-called satellites are to observe the planets, to listen. The universe is full of these probes.
What I think is the most important thing to understand, are we being watched? Who is watching us? And where are they from? I am Billy Carson, and this is my investigation into the Black Knight satellite.
Black Knight, satellite, hey, Black Knight, satellite, Black Knight. Every day ended with destruction, got them wondering just what I'm up to. Be careful when you knock on those doors, may see a monster, making assumptions.
I will give you guys the links to that so you can check it out. It's going to be, let's see, June 5th, I believe it is. And obviously there's a fee to watch this. But I look at it this way. If you have a recording software, you can grab it for yourself if you pay for it. good to go. So it's going to be cool to actually see it. Because, like I said, he come up here, and we went to a place where we can actually record this, and we had like A and B side kind of information. So all of those photos you're seeing of the Black Knight in orbit, or out in orbit outside of Earth, I gave him those photos, and then of course you're not going to see the enhanced one that I gave him as well. So pretty cool, and it's going to be a really good documentary kind of thing that he put together. And I was like, yeah, that's cool, that's awesome. So when he approached me about it, I said, hell yeah, I'll do it. I already covered this a long time ago and talked about it, so yeah. Curtis Bond says, starring Mars Anomalies and Beyond. Oh yeah. Mistreated Bride said, Chris, much love to you. Good night, Eric. Eric taking off. Eric Gower. Love you guys, but I got to work. Just popping in to say hi. All right, Eric, I appreciate that. I know that's cool that you guys do that. I know a lot of times they're driving or they're at work or whatever it may be, or they're busy at home. I appreciate you guys just popping in, even if it's for a short time. That's cool. That's awesome that you do that. I don't know if you guys have seen this. This is cool because they do it says NASA's James Webb Telescope is almost ready for science. And we talked about this last time, right? Here's what's next. The first science work for the $10 billion telescope should start in early summer. Of course, this is only 2 days ago, but we've talked about this before. And if you go down here, this is crazy because watch this. Watch the difference. This is the Spitzer telescope right here. Watch how much it clears up when. Watch this. Watch what it does. That's Spitzer. Clearing up, and there you go with the James Webb. That is crazy. Are you serious right now? So you know they're going to see unprecedented details out there. And of course, they got different filtering so they can see compositions of certain stars, planets, whatever it may be. So that's going to be absolute crazy. Now, will they tell the truth now about if they find any kind of weird stuff going on out there? I'd say that's a big fat no. That's just my opinion, and I think you guys will probably think the same way because yeah. Jerry Lahane, what's going on? You said the chat blocked my posting. How did it do that? Max K, you said, looks interesting, Chris. Oh, yeah. Wait till you see it. It's pretty cool. It is really, really cool. Yeah, so I can't wait to see stuff like that. That's going to be more and more pictures we see come out and stuff like that. And whether they will, you know, like Dyson's Fair, they're not going to tell you any of that. They'll probably show really cool photos of parts of the universe and, you know, nebulas and all this other stuff. Be like pristine. That'll be cool to see. That'll look good. Jerry Lahane, you said Google Mars Crabzilla. Yeah, I think we actually talked about that last week. And it was like, it's not what everybody blows it up to be. Shockboy said, hi, Chris. What did you think of the Corbell's documentary of Bob Lazar? Bob Lazar, like Corbell, I'm not, yeah, he's another one that just likes to embellish a lot. And, you know, is he an all right guy? Probably so, but as far as he's just like a lot of these, like Luis Elizondo, you know, it's all about, you know, staying, you know, making money, and that's what it's about. And there's nothing wrong with that. However, what I think is if you're going to use it over and over again, just trying to make your story bigger and bigger every year or every 6 months just to stay relevant, it's like, it's kind of weird. It's like, do it because you literally have some information to share with the public, not because, you know, you're just making some of this up and stringing the people along. Because how many times you heard these guys talk about this? Oh yeah, I got a new UFO thing coming out, and wait until you see this 23-minute video about, you know, groundbreaking video, and it's crap. It's kind of like the Pentagon. They pump it up to be something, and they say a whole lot of nothing. It just makes no sense. Eric Gower says, shout out to Jean Ward for a great find this week. Absolutely. Jean did a very good job on that. Well, actually, he does a lot of good finds, but as far as the doorway on Mars, as well as other folks have done it, is awesome. Danny, he said Billy looks much younger than he is. Oh yeah, he's getting up there too. Metalhead. Chris is a movie star. I want your autograph. Not sure about all that. I'm not making all that big bank like these guys are. Trust me. I wish I was. Turklerin, what's going on? Good to see you in there. Mimi Rash, you said black people age much slower. Well, it also depends on how you take care of yourself, too, right? Renee V said, I think Phobos is also a ship, just like the starships in rows between Saturn's rings, so Black Knight ship, no doubt. Well, I mean, when you see that, if you decide to jump on that, and like I said, I'll drop the link on that, all the links I use on here. And it's really interesting because anytime a documentary comes, if I pay for it, I don't care to pay for it. What I try to do is I'll use my own recording software so I'll have it and I can keep it for myself. Or they have a way you can actually download it. Or, it depends on what you want to do, right? So I'll just record the thing and I got it for myself. It's well worth it. Especially because there's not really anybody doing anything about the Black Knight. Have you heard people talking about it? Sure. I've done that. So, but to actually have your own documentary, it's just cool to have. And something to watch and stuff like that. It's cool. CJ Arnold's in there. What's going on, CJ? Lammy Watcher, what's going on? He said, hi, Chris and all. What's going on, Lammy? Good to see you in there. Oh, let me see here. I got a kick out of this. Well, not a kick out of it, but I thought it was interesting. X particle from the dawn of time detected inside the Large Hadron Collider. The mysterious particle will reveal insights into the earliest moments of the universe. Well, we talked about the Big Bang last time. And again, they're saying now that they're random. In other words, it wasn't just one Big Bang. And it makes perfect sense. And this is the reason why we have these these solar systems and these other stars colliding with each other. Because if you were to believe it's just the one, then again, we talked about where if you were to throw a pebble in there, it goes out in rings. So how are they coming back into each other? So it doesn't make much sense. But if you were to throw multiple pebbles into a lake, well, then you got these waves going into each other. That makes sense. You got solar systems crashing into each other. You got black holes teaming up and swallowing stars and all kinds of crazy stuff going on. That makes sense to me. Multiple bangs, not the Big Bang, but bangs, and it makes sense. I mean, so when they come out with this, this might be the X particle from basically the dawn of time, I'm going, because from the Big Bang, no, not buying it. Again, mysterious X particles that form moments after the Big Bang found in the Large Hadron Collider, like we were just talking about. Physicists at MIT's Laboratory of Nuclear Science have found evidence of these X particles produced in the Large Hadron Collider at CERN in Geneva. Okay, and you can listen to it here if you get this. You want to listen to it. It's actually pretty much talks about everything that's in here. It said the basic building blocks of matter are the neutron and proton, each of which are made from 3 tightly bound quarks, which they call them. So, yeah, this is cool the way they got this thing. Check this out. Each of these 13 billion collisions likely produce tens of thousands of charged particles. And, of course, it's showing them, like, there. And let me see here. That's a Hadron Collider right there. Pretty cool. And it's how it's housed and everything else. Pretty neat. So, yeah, a lot of cool stuff in here, man. It's just, this is what, this next page is what kind of got me laughing a little bit. UFO sightings are real, but aliens are not responsible. So, are they admitting that it's Earth-based? The U.S. government recently confirmed reports of military pilots of unidentified aerial phenomenon, or UAPs. I think that it's just a silly goddamn thing. Call them UFOs. Which are more commonly called identified flying objects. The government also acknowledged the need to better understand UAP for the purpose of pilot safety and national security. There was no mention of aliens from other planets visiting Earth, but the possibility was not ruled out. For decades, the U.S. government has denied the existence of UFOs, making this a major step. Where's the major step? Just because they're not denying them? Listen, we've had photos that are black and white back in the 20s, 30s of UFOs. There was no drones back then. There was no anything like that. Now was it possible they had test vehicles back then? Possibility. I'm not sure about in the 20s being like that. But, you know, it's just crazy the way they just, well, they deny them, but they're not saying it's ruled out. Okay. Renee V said, I am a subscriber since September 11th, 2013 on your channel. Is that my institutions I saw yesterday? Oh, okay. Huh. Eric Gowrie said 2,000 Mules is a must-watch. Haven't heard of that. I'm trying to see, did I miss something there? Mark Lewis is on the news today. NASA has said that an asteroid going to hit Earth in 100 years' time. Well, they also said it was supposed to be, if it's the one I think it is, I'm not sure if it was one of these. I'll see if I got the tab, but I seen it too. They said it was supposed to be like closer to our sun. It was like 100 million miles from our sun and the other side of it. So I don't think we'll have to worry about it, but, you know, it's hard to tell. I mean, all you need is really like a rock slamming into another one in the asteroid belt and send it flying towards us like a pinball machine. I mean, that's all you need. So just because they can track these things and give an estimated time, well, what about the ones that are unseen and accidentally tripped into our area, into our solar system, and plow right into Earth? You can't foresee that. I mean, you can see it once it's knocked out of its trajectory and heading towards Earth, possibly. Say, oh God, where's this thing coming from? And then you pretty much have within reasonable time, you don't really have that much time to act on it. This is the reason why they want to make sure we're on other planets, so it's not just Earth. You get something that kills this planet, it's over. Humans no longer exist. Jerry Lehane said, Crabzilla shows multiple sizes and sexes of people in the same shot at a cave hole, like Jean Ward cave hole same. If that's the one I think you're talking about, that's the one I think you're talking about. That's the one it's like embedded in the rocks, and it's kind of round. Of course, it's got all these appendages sticking out of it. That one there, like I said, I've talked about that one before, and again, it's all in how it was enhanced, that area. That makes it look like that. I've done it before, and it's not natural, but it's not a crab or anything like that, at least in my opinion. You know, some people would just say, well, yeah, it absolutely is. And listen, they're welcome to their opinion. Like I said, I enhanced it, put it through the actual photo plating, and it's not that at all. Steve Garnham, what's going on? He said, I've stayed quiet, young looking. I never married. Oh, no, you got to marry, man. Have some kids. You'll be all right. I didn't hear about that one, George. I'm good to see you in there, by the way. George Mayer said, did you hear about the huge asteroid that was very close flyby on Sunday? No, I haven't heard about that one. Shockboy said, Chris, if you team up with Jimmy Robert and Art Alien TV for a joint live even, that would be awesome. Your combined research would watch would be watched by tens of thousands. Have you ever done like this before? I have. If you go to Jimmy Roberts' channel, you'll see that I've been on there several times. In fact, one was like purely by accident. We were just messing around and making sure everything would work and we'd connect okay. And people started jumping on there, so we just went with it. And then there was a couple others I did with him. Joe I've had on here several times. Of course, this goes back years. I've had him on here. That him and I were in there, and several other people too. We used to do live feeds a lot, if you go way, way back. So, yeah. Yeah, Whitebeard Sky Daddy's talking about John Ward's channel. Yeah, I mean, I think you just hit the 6, didn't you? 6,000 people there? That's actually pretty cool. And like you said, well, you got shadow banning, which doesn't help anybody. Hasn't helped me, that's for sure. So, yeah, not cool. Of course, this is off a beaten topic. But anyway, Mistreated Bride says, my son came out as bisexual. My husband wants to take him to conversion therapy. My personal opinion, let him be. You know what I mean? It'll work out. It always does. Yep. It'll all work out. And here's the thing, he's your flesh and blood. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about. Let the person become who they want to be. I mean, don't get me wrong, unless, of course, they're like, you know, they want to turn into a total thug and rip off stores and everything else. Yeah, I can understand you want to intervene, but he could be worse. Could be a lot worse. What's going on, Corey? Good to see you in there. Hope you're doing good, man. Robert Morgan, what's happening? He said, sorry I'm late, Chris. I was at a VA for a PCP appointment. Ain't nothing wrong with that, brother. You got to do what you got to do, Robert. First things first. Glad to see you in there, man. Transmission Man says, what's up? What's going on? Good to see you in there. Taking over, John. He says, see you for now, everyone. Good to see you in there, John. Thanks for being in there. Like I said, we'll probably hang out next week if you want to do that. You can bring in the best of the best that you got. We can just throw it out there, and you be the guest, and I'll just. No, I'm kidding. But we'll do some cool stuff. We'll bring out a couple of stuff that I think is I think I've showed before, but some of the best ones I have, and you can do the same. Whether it be like I'll do the moon, some Mars, bring out some pictures. Some of them you've probably seen. Some of these folks have probably seen, but some of them maybe not so much. Or just bring back the oldies but goodies, which is good. So we can do that. I do once in a while, Steve. Steve, he said, does anyone watch Anton Petrov's videos? Yes. Very good guy. He's a very good guy. Makes very good videos. Whitebeard Sky Daddy says, shadow banning is exactly what has throttled all your channels. The topic is too taboo to certain people who like slave sheeples. Yeah, I mean, again, I don't know whatever happened to just flat out, free speech. Again, I understand hate speech. I understand violence. I understand, yeah, filter that. There's no need for that. But stuff like this, come on. Like I said, it could be a lot worse. You could be just plagued with that crap all over the place, right? Creativity Express says, great channel. I appreciate that. I haven't seen you before. I guess you're new here, right? Good to have you in there. Oh, okay, Elaine, you said I put 2,000 Mules link in on Discord. Okay, cool. I still yet to have to jump on that. Like I said, it seems like every time I pop in there just to go on there and go live, it's like everybody's either at work or something because they don't expect me to be there. So I pop in there, just checking it out. Okay, make sure everything's working good. And then nobody gets in there, so I said they're probably not thinking of that. And of course, again, they're probably at work, most of you. So, yeah. Stone Rabbit said they soon banned David Icke. You know, I've got mixed feelings about David. Although a lot of people think that's a possibility as far as, you know, reptilian people. I'm not a big fan of the theory. That doesn't mean I'm closed-minded to it. I just don't think that's real unless it's something that's evolved on this planet where people became like amphibious kind of thing, right? Or there was like I don't know if I want to call it a crossbreeding, but some kind of genetic modification at one point, thousands or maybe millions of years ago, where they live in the water. They're a lot like us, but can breathe in the water and everything else. I'm not so sure about like crocodile men running around. I'm not sure I believe in all that. So I'm not sure, to be truthful with you, as far as that goes. You know what I'm saying? Anybody who hasn't hit the thumbs up, please do so. I do appreciate it. Jerry Lane was just saying 100 thumbs up. James Cragen, you said, Chris, in relation to meteorites coming close to Earth, well, as we said before, Chris, what about the one that blew up over, yeah, exactly, Russia, 2013. Nobody saw that coming, remember? End of story. Yeah, remember that? It just came in, boom! I mean, it literally broke glass and set off alarms and everything else for how many miles? This thing was insane. Not to mention, I don't remember how big it was, but I don't think it's any bigger than a bus, I think they said. I think it was even smaller than that. And it was enough to do what it did. Now, just imagine something that was, you know, excuse me. Just imagine something that was like much, much larger, like the size of a friggin' estate, like in the United States, or depending on where you live, right? So imagine something much larger. Richard Bunt, what's going on? He said, Mars is so far away, it looks like a dot from Earth, and yet we have remote control rovers on a small dot out there. Does that feel true? Yes. They actually had photos that the rovers had taken of Earth, and of course our moon. So that's pretty crazy in itself, right? I think that's pretty neat. And, you know, when you consider we can still send radio signals back and forth there, and they work autonomously, but we give them commands too if you want them to do a special stop and look it over kind of thing. We got all that. Like I said, they claim it's only like 5 to 20 minutes for a transmission from Mars to Earth, depending on if it's on its closest, closest distance from Earth and through its orbit. But we know it's a lot sooner than that. It's within seconds as opposed to minutes because, when we looked at it, I researched a lot of the stuff. I found that it's got like a quantum communications, so it's much faster than they claim. So if that's true, they could be watching a live video there, for all we know, with just obviously a lag in time, but I almost promise you they probably got live feed, and they're watching and hearing everything that's going on up there. Corey, you said, it's as though they didn't like what Icke was telling people, and if someone was to just talking nonsense, why would they want to shut them down? Yeah, I mean, to me, whether I believe in it or not, I don't think there's any reason to shadow ban him. Let him do his thing. Hell, let's suppose he's full of it, just for argument's sake. Complete. Okay, what difference does it make? I can watch a sci-fi video. or a short movie here on YouTube or whatever, why does it matter? Like I said, as long as it's not like something, you know, like really bad, like, you know, like I said, just people being shot, you know, cut up and, you know, just bad stuff. I get that. You know, you want to filter that out, but stuff like that, stop. David Gossman, he's a really good door vid, Chris. Yeah, I just saw your comment on there because it came up on my phone. I said that you commented on there. Yeah, I think it's really, really interesting. And like I said, Jean Ward has done that. Mikey Jensen's done it. Joe from Alien TV, he's done it as well. These guys had done it prior to me, and they did a great job of describing what they saw and what they found in there, so that was cool. And like I said, a few people have already, actually it's more than a few people now on Facebook has done it, showed it and stuff like that, so pretty cool. McCartney said the Icke reptilians are interdimensional entities that can only manifest their presence in humans with specific bloodlines. Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I watched him, this was years ago, right? And I'm listening, I'm going, oh my God, what nonsense. Because I'm just not a strong believer in that. Now, in some ways I do believe that it could happen only because you don't expect every being out there to be exactly like us. They could be from a watery planet. We don't know. They could be, and they just evolved that way. You know, like they claim that, you know, we were like, you know, obviously microscopic, macro, you know, then became, you know, frogs, fish, all this other stuff, then reptiles, and so on and so on until we became who we are today. Well, who's to say that on one planet it didn't just stop right there, and then they just evolved as far as their brain mass, their brain pan itself, and they just got smarter, and who's to say? It just seems unrealistic to me, but it's not ruled out. That's the difference, right? I don't close my mind to any possibility unless, of course, it's so ridiculous you go, yeah, okay, that's a little off the deep end. Jerry Lehane, I hope Webb demystifies, yeah, the air content on Mars. Yeah, exactly. Oh, let me see something here. Let me just check this really quick. All right, so I was trying to make sure, I wanted to make sure I understood. Mrs. Seven Digit, you said there is the Silurian hypothesis, and I wanted to make sure I was accurate because I didn't want to just go spout off, but it says, basically it says that objects that could indicate possible evidence of past civilization include plastics and nuclear waste residues buried deep underground or on the ocean floor. Prior civilizations could have gone to space and left artifacts on other celestial bodies such as the moon and Mars. So, yeah. Now, I mean, there is what we're doing, which is going to the moon, and we've left stuff there. The equipment that we have, you know, lunar buggies, other stuff we left up there, so on and so forth. So there is our waste up there, and actually there's actually real waste up there, but yeah. David Gosby said, yes, quantum entanglement signaling, instant comms. Yeah, I mean, if you're talking about a lag, who gives a crap? We get a lag here. Like, I got a lag from transmitting right now to what I'm seeing you guys are seeing, and it's like a 20-second lag, and that's here on Earth. But picture quantum, nothing to slow down the signal except for, what is it, void of space. But you're talking distancing, but if you use the right frequencies, it's pretty much instant, within seconds, right? Robert Nielsen, you said there's gravity and there's a human thought, intellect. People in power will always tend to believe that creativity is an utter biatch. But life would be so dull without it. Catch 22. That's true. Ricardo said, I agree, Chris. It does not rather crazy, but it's crazy that we perceive only 0.3% of the EM spectrum, so we can never rule stuff out. It's true. I mean, what was that other one too? Because I want to still roll on with these as well. All right, these were just other ones here. Disturbing new details from the Pentagon report and urgent message from Executive Director. This is the one I was talking about, David McDonald, on the Senate Gillibrand Defense Bill Amendment to create a UFO Studies Office. Now, how do they not know this? How do they not know about UFOs? You know as well as I do, they investigated them deeply. They probably know where they all come from. Think about this a minute. Let's suppose they knew about this since the 20s or 30s, okay? So as they get to learn, let's say just one alien species they get to talk to, okay? But these alien species, because it's so far more advanced, they're in the know. So it's kind of like you. If I was to meet you in your neighborhood, I just moved in next door, what's the first thing you're going to tell me? Well, Linda and Dave over there, they're good people. This one here, a little psychotic. You know what I mean? You're going to tell me about the neighborhood, welcome me to the neighborhood, so on and so forth. So it would not surprise me if they got to learn or talk to at least one of these other beings. They're going to pretty much be in the know of everything. Especially if they're far more advanced and like, oh yeah, we go through like so many wormholes, it takes us like 20 minutes to get here from the opposite side of the universe. You'd be like, what? So they pretty much know everybody, within reason, in the universe and how many civilizations there are. You don't need to know every one of them. So now what you do is, as the military, you categorize all of these and where do they live and, you know, what quadrant of the universe. And I mean, the list goes on, right? So you pretty much know. So they close the book on the investigations because they know everything there is to know about every civilization out there. They don't care. And for them to go there, unless they have the technology, they're probably, can you imagine if they do actually have the technology, and I kind of think that they do, they're probably doing the same thing, jumping through wormholes, getting to know these people, kind of like, I'm trying to think of it here. Hold on. But it's kind of like, you know, like the Enterprise, things like that, where you can travel, see new worlds and stuff like that. So if they're able and capable of doing that, then they pretty much know what's going on. So they close the book on it and go, think about it. If you knew everything there was to know about the civilizations out there, and somebody's going, I think we need to investigate these UFOs. Oh, please, don't bother. Because it'd be so, it's like having the most sophisticated car on the planet and somebody's saying, hey, let me interest you in this broke down Model A. Although it was cool back in the day, you're going, oh my God, dude, really? I don't care. You know, I really don't. It's cute. It's a nice little engine, and it's got people around in the streets, but okay. You know what I mean? Where they come from, and if you're capable of going to their planets, you know, they got flying cars, and it's an everyday thing, and everything comes and goes. They fly from planet to planet in their solar system, and they go places. So why would you want to, like, now you want to start to investigate UFOs? This is like a different sector, like the idiot sector, like, yeah, we're going to start investigating these. All the other upper, you know, tier, you know, top secret people are going, whatever, let them play with that shit. We don't care. We already know everything there is to know, so why should we open up anything as far as investigations? Probably saying, you guys handle it. We're good. To me, it makes more sense. All right, Mimi. You said good night, everyone, and sleep well. You do the same, Mimi. Thanks for joining us, as always. And you and the family be safe there, right? Steve Garnham, he said, asteroid strikes on Earth could have blasted life to Mars billions of years ago, or the other way around. This is the reason why they say we're Martians. So you get the theory of panspermia kicks in, where obviously there was life on Mars, micro and macro life. It's on these, in the ground, okay? Something hits Mars, it bursts, all the ejector goes out into space, it makes its way here onto Earth, and this is where life starts here. So that's basically the theory of panspermia. So it could work either way, right? That's why a lot of people are saying probably more Mars to Earth than vice versa. But yeah, I mean, it could probably still do that as well, right? Turklerin, you said, I'm going offline. See you later, all right? Turklerin, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you being here, as always. Have yourself a good night there, right? Did they really do that, Jerry? You said something about they put like dolls on these rovers to see if they'd grab them. Seriously, I never heard of that. The doll and the rovers never talked about or would give it away. Steve Garnham, he said, I saw Moonfall yesterday. I was quite disappointed with the special effects. See, I'm the opposite of you. I think they did a really good job. But what do you think? Never mind the special effects. What do you think about the movie overall? Because I thought it was really interesting. So before I give you my answer, I'm just curious what you thought about the story plot and the actual, everything in the details about the moon itself. Robert Nielsen, you said, God only knows there are so many theories out there. We all should know by all of these mind Fs that has been conducted for the past 4 to 5 decades. That's true, Robert. Excuse me. This thing just jumped on me here. Jerry Lehane, you said on top of Spirit. Oh, on Opportunity. Okay, got you. Really? Never heard of that. Of course, there's a lot of things we don't hear about, right? Miss Rita Bride, you said, do you think ETs have been embedded into our society since the beginning of mankind? Maybe the top echelons of the world governments are ETs that look like us? Thoughts? If you were to go by the Anunnaki writings, or the story of the Anunnaki, then they pretty much changed our DNA anyway. So if we're similar, but not exactly like these other civilizations out there, then they could probably coexist with us and everything would be fine. According to way back when, they said that the governments were in talks with these aliens, or these, I call them beings. I hate to call them aliens. Again, you think of these little gray aliens, but I think of people, when I say other beings, it's very similar to us. And I think that if they're a lot like us, they could probably walk among us with no problem. And you never know the difference. I'm not sure I'm 100% on board with that, but that doesn't mean it can't happen, right? If they are very much like us and they evolved, maybe they changed their DNA to evolve, for X amount of time. Maybe they can speed up their evolution as far as like an embryo, right? So they got their DNA and then they get it from human, mix it, boom, looks a lot like us, and they can accelerate that. Maybe almost like we'll use the term like a test tube baby, only difference a lot more high tech, and where they can actually grow this embryo quicker and this baby, and of course it's got a lot of DNA into theirs, and they come out pretty much looking like us, so they can walk among us. We'd never know it. I don't know, but it's a good possibility. Mr. 7 Digit said, I'd go even further and say they found a way to communicate with them years ago before we even land rovers. NASA might even go no contact or low contact and just do their thing up there. Well, that's true too, I agree. You can bet like they've done this for years. I mean, long before, went to the moon, so on and so forth. I think this happened a long time ago. Think about it. We've been trying to go to Mars and other planets since the 30s and 40s. So this is not something new. So, chances are, if they ran into one of these civilizations, even in our own solar system, then they've been talking with them quite often. Well, they pretty much know them pretty well, right? Steve Goddard said the story plot was excellent. Well, if you think about the movie, Steve, it's basically all of the conspiracy theories wrapped into one. Think about it. They said it was basically like a Dyson sphere. It was hollow inside. It could be controlled. You see how it came at Earth? Just all kinds of cool stuff. But what did you think about the twist? That was pretty interesting near the end. When you found out what that, and I don't want to give it away if nobody else has seen it, but that mass that was inside there, at first I thought it was part of that. Good twist. I wonder if this will taste like one of these little drops with the drink I was just drinking. Trying to get rid of the itch. The Street of Bride said, "What is the beings have? What does the beings have technology to manipulate perception of humans, so that when we look at them, they look human, even though in reality they aren't?" Well, it's like I said, if they could look like you and I, meaning down to the skin, the eyes, and everything else, how would you tell the difference? I wouldn't be able to, unless it's something they do freaky. Instead of their eyelids go this way, as opposed to up and down. I mean, other than that, how would I know? So, like I said, the only way I can think of is they'd be bred like into us kind of thing. Again, take some DNA from a regular human and kind of put it into their own embryos and kind of do it that way, right? Well, we like to call them beings. You said Chicken Andy. He said, are we talking about aliens here? I'm talking about other beings, not so much aliens, because I kind of get the same, because you get the laughing face there. I kind of think the same way every time I hear the word alien. Because if you think about it, it's something that's not from here. So it's alien to us, right? But when I think alien, I think of gray people, little gray guys with the big almond eyes. Now, I'm not talking about that kind of stuff. I'm talking about people or beings that look a lot like you and I. Yeah. Mars Leakey said, conspiracy theories are often very true. Or at least there's some truth to them, right? Even if it's only a spot of truth. Mr. Seven Digits said, could be the same race, and they probably live in multiple star systems. You have Giza that aligns with the Orion's belt, yep. And Anchor that aligns with Draco's system. Mayan ruins lining up with the Pleiades, etc. Yeah. So we know at least they were bored. Because literally, think about it. It's not like you have, light distortion from streetlights and everything back in the day, right? So you're literally looking up at the stars and you go, hey, wow, look at the way that's kind of shaped and everything else. Well, maybe our gods, they were thinking this, maybe our gods live in that cluster of these bright things up in the sky. Why don't we build our structures to, obviously it's to worship their gods, so we'll put them in that same star constellation like Orion's belt, or like you said, the Pleiades and everything else. So why don't we put it in that configuration? Because it's like, if you look at the pyramids in Egypt, they're not the only ones that are like that, right? Like you said, the Mayans, it's the way they're laid out. So, it might have been just as simple as looking up at the stars and say, maybe our gods live there. And they decided to design and the placement of their structures, because it's either Egyptians or regular temples or whatever. So, yeah, it could very well be, you know. Ricardo Petrozzi, thank you again for your support, sir. I do appreciate you. Always a big supporter of the Super Chat. I do appreciate you, brother. Is it any wonder people know nothing and believe government lies when the majority are distracted by the circus of things like depth versus Earth? Yes. I mean, it's crazy, right? I don't even get into that. You know, with the, like, Will Smith giving, what's his name, a slap on stage, and, you know, Chris Rock and all this. I don't care. And they make a huge thing about it. Now, again, should it have happened? If I was Will, I would have looked at him, hey, enough. I don't want to hear another word about my wife. And that would have been the end of it. And if he kept on with it, well, then you go up and give him a beating. But the thing is, they're still dwelling on it. I don't care. Now, I know a lot of you folks will watch the news, and I do too. I'm not going to lie to you. But I don't get into TV that much. And even with regular TV, I can't stand commercials, so I'd rather watch a movie. Do I watch, you know, I stream, like, you know, TV shows and other stuff too. And so you got to kind of deal with the commercials, right? But if I'm going to go on there, I'd rather just watch a movie and be done with it. I can't stand regular TV. And just the silliness. Think about what you know now, as far as what we talk about and what you guys already know, about space, possible life out there and everything else. And then you look at TV and go, hey, what do you think about Johnny Depp's, you know, court trial and everything? What? Really? It's so beneath your mind thinking and your mindset that you just don't even acknowledge it. Okay. You know what I mean? They're people. They're bound to have divorces. They're bound to have issues in their lives like a normal human being. Why is everybody like so enthralled with it? Woo! You know, I just don't get it. Tim Hughes, what's going on? He said, good morning, Chris. Good morning, you guys. I saw a Mars photo that looked like an entrance to a mine or something. Yeah, I just put a video up there, Tim. It's about the, well, the several of us that have done this, including John Ward and Joe from Alien TV. But yeah, I just put this on just before going live. So yeah, if you want to check that out or check out the other folks too, what they've done with their videos, you can check them out. Ricardo Petrozzi, yeah, Slow Disclosure is a good name for a band. It's like, yeah, open it up for Def Leppard, you know. But yeah, that would be, yeah. Chicken Andy. I might like it too much if I get probed. It's like, yeah, a little more to the right. Oh. Friend 98 says slow disclosure is the best method. Well, yeah, if you really think about it, again, would everybody be on board with this? If they would just pop it right out and just say, listen, just drop it all on the table and say, by the way, there's civilizations all around us. There's some evil aliens and some good ones. They live right here in our solar system. And, you know, some of them would love to just kill the whole planet. Do you think people are going to take too kindly to it? Because the first thing, even if you said they're completely, you know, more technologically advanced, they're above warring and everything else, the first thing it's going to trigger people, Independence Day. Alien. First thing they think of, alien. Oh my God. Or they think of the movie Alien. And they're thinking, oh my God, they're going to kill us all. Why is that the mindset? Why? Because we've been trained through Hollywood. How many movies have you seen that didn't show, like War of the Worlds, that we weren't being destroyed or whatever? Now, Contact on the other side of the token was different. But they're basically saying, like we talked about before, the aliens are saying, you're just not ready. Maybe soon, somewhere in the future, you will be. Well, you know, and it shows them going into wormholes while she's talking to what she thought was her dad, and it's actually an alien. But, you know, he says, you're just not ready. And the alien showed himself as her dad, so she can not be scared and, you know, basically talk to him and stuff like that. But you can see these, like, millions of, like a transport system. We've been doing this for millions of years, he said. So, you're just not ready. It's as simple as that. Mistreated Bride, he said, what's the craziest structure you've seen on the moon? Oh, I've seen several. Some of them are in plain sight, but they're in the shadows. And once I brighten them up, these things are huge. I think it's large structures on the moon, found on the moon. If you look that up on, I think it's on my regular, I don't think it's on my Lunar Anomalies and Beyond, but on the Mars Anomalies and Beyond, you just go on there, on that page, and just search it, and you'll find it. Large structures found on the moon. And those are wild because it didn't even dawn on me, because I'm looking at the things, oh, I'm not seeing it, and all of a sudden, poof, you see these large structures, like right on the edge of it's on the edge of a crater. And then there's one that looked like there was like only a frame left of this thing, like a dual-story building. It's just weird stuff all over that picture. But then people are going, oh, did you see the high res? You look at the high res, this is what's funny. You can see what looks like a grainy picture, or something, or equivalent to something you would see back in, you know, during the missions from '69 into like early '72, I think it was. So, well, the earliest Apollo to the latest. And when you look at these photos, it's like you expect to see that quality. But then you see the new photo of that area, and it literally has a nice smooth blackened area right in that area where the structures are. It's either blackened out or it's completely smooth and not kind of like grainy like you'd expect to see in that kind of era of photos. And yet this is super smooth and shiny. So it's been doctored up. So the people are going, oh yeah, you're seeing things. You ought to see this new one. I don't want to see the new one. I want to see the original. There's a difference. I don't want to see crap. I want to see the real thing. But look that video up and you'll see what I'm talking about. Really, really cool. Tim usually said, your question was, what was the consensus? Looked like an underground entrance to me. I agree with you, and a lot of people do, Tim. We also thought, because of, we don't know the size or scale of the area, is it possible it's a ventilation shaft and not an entrance to a structure? If you watch the video, you'll see what I did. I actually brought up some things that were right there at the foot of that doorway, or that ventilation shaft, call it what you will, and it looks like there's stuff laying all over the place in different parts of that photo. Really, really cool. So there's much more on there, in that photo than, you know, like I always say, meets the eye. Richard Bunt, he said, if possible, there's one thing that would be true. Before time, a machine that would get you from A to B, a mechanical device. Now, can you imagine if they actually built the time machine? That would be incredible. You know, just to go in the future, period, is cool. That would be neat. Mistreated bride, my bad. Is it possible that the moon is so far away that the structures on the moon don't have color? All of the structures seem to blend in with the moon. Well, two things. One, I believe a lot of these structures, well, I should say, I believe what they do is they use the actual lunar surface to like burrow into and make structures, because there's a lot of areas that look like, it's like you can see like what looks like a dome, and it's kind of like the same color as the lunar surface soil or dirt. It's kind of like, if you ever seen, like what we have over here, there's a guy that built his house into a hill. He can literally mow his own roof. It's, all you see is the front brick building and everything. If you were up close, it looked like a house. You back off, it's actually inside of a hill. So he can literally mow his lawn, go up on the roof and mow it and come back. Is it possible they did the same thing and utilized the lunar landscape to keep themselves safe from radiation? Kept themselves from being seen. The other thing is, too, keep in mind a lot of these photos were black and white. Just about every photo was black and white. Now, that doesn't mean they weren't in RGB, they weren't in color. But every time you've seen these photos, if you put them into Photoshop, you see it's black and white. You go up there and it says photo, and then you can see what it'll actually say if it's in like gray, or it'll say, you know, RGB. Most of them are actually color, especially the ones that have the capsule in it. You see the capsule, and of course you see the moon. It's literally, it's color. The moon always looks either whited out, or washed out as I like to call it, or it's completely black and white. But there's much more to it. Some photos, if you really do it right, and blast off this film, this overlay, you can literally see colors. It looks like there's lights on in certain places. It's just crazy. It's really bizarre stuff. Great for all. What's going on? Good to see you in there. He said, NASA allowed us to see that door on Mars. Slow disclosure. Yeah, I mean, you know what? There's no way they could have just let that slip. Unless, of course, the AI just went over to the whole rest of it. It just thought it was a space between the rocks, and it just did the rest of it and didn't think nothing of it. That's a possibility. Or, like we said, we got these guys a little disgruntled. Oh, we're just going to leave that in there, and we'll just let them see this. That could very well be. Rico, you said, let's hope ETs are real, slow learners, and had to take millions of years to develop their high tech. Yeah, the thing is, they've been around a lot longer than we have. Disturbing new details from Pentagon report by Bob Sparing. As of 2 years have not been rich enough for UFO enthusiasts. Let me go ahead and make this bigger, because even on my screen it's tiny. New documents obtained through the Freedom of Information Act, or the FOIA, whatever they call it, FOIA Act, revealed that UFOs regularly endure, witnesses possibly due to the witness coming in contact with the UFO's possible advanced propulsion system. There is no evidence witnesses are injured on purpose, but these injuries include radiation sickness, skin burns, and even brain damage. More disturbing is that these reports details pregnancies by female witnesses after encountering a UFO. Hey, even the aliens got to get their freak on. Last week, MUFON's executive director David McDonald spent several days in Washington, D.C. Conferring with senators and congresspersons about the phenomenon and how the Mutual UFO Network can use its extraordinary assets to assist the United States government in their pursuit of answers to the most profound and perplexing phenomena that surely had national and worldwide implications. Again, why are they bringing this up now? Again, I'm sure the military closed the book on this a long time ago because they've already got all the info they need. It's kind of like the moon. Why go back to the moon when you've already, well, according to them, as far as the public knows, we never went back to the moon, so we don't need to go. They already know what's up there, so they just continue to go there. They probably know everything there is to know about what, civilization was on the moon or how many stopped at the moon, and pretty much that was the end of it. So why do they why do they feel the need to keep going back, at least for the public knowing? Think about it. The report relied heavily on MUFON case reports from our own case management system that is a vast repository of witness reports, replete, in many cases with videos, photographs, and drawings, as well as some extraordinary narratives. The photograph here depicts injuries sustained by Stan McCallick and his 1977 Falcon Lake encounter in Canada. And you can see that's weird how he just has this. Well, bring that up here. It's weird. It looked like he had some kind of weird grate, like steel grate on him, where he's got all these like weird circles on him and stuff. Previous Andreessen, Luca has died. Discussion about the post. Okay. Yeah. So it doesn't surprise me. What are you guys thinking about these abductions? Now, I'm not saying they're not true, because clearly there's some real good ones that were out there that these people absolutely passed the lie detector test and were, they passed with flying colors as far as being abducted. It does not surprise me if that's happened. Josh D said, okay, bedtime, thank you. Thanks for all you do, my friend. Well, I appreciate it, Josh, and have yourself a good night, good weekend. We'll see you soon. You take it easy there, right? Mistreated Bride, your question was, where do you think the beings manufacture the technology that's on the moon? Like, where do they make the crafts, the material for the craft, the buildings, etc.? The only thing I can think of is that we don't know if some of this stuff, kind of like what we want to do, right? We want to bring, and I'm not sure you guys know this, but they want to send spacecraft to Mars first. And what they're going to be is like, they'll open up, and they're pretty much going to be like a very large 3D printer. It's going to make these structures so that when these astronauts get there, they'll have a place or habitat to live in. So that was the plan. Now, whether they're going to change that up or whatever, I don't know. Also, I keep saying, and I believe this is true, that even though we see structures that look like they've been wrecked, been decimated, that doesn't mean that they all are. Okay, it's kind of like when you see a war-torn city, there's always structures that are still standing, maybe on the outskirts of where there's a bomb dropped or they invaded that area or whatever. There's still areas that are pretty well still put together, right? So that's what I think will happen. So is it possible, like on the moon, they didn't do the same thing when they first got to the moon, and of course then they just continue to build whatever. Maybe they build out of something totally different. There are metals on the moon. We do have water on the moon. So, you know, we got fuel. You know, they got fuel. They can, so they can make energy on the moon. They probably build, if they have structures, or shouldn't say that, I should say cities under the lunar surface, which I think is a great possibility. You always see these UFOs like flying into these craters and then back out of them. Like they come out of the middle of them or the edge of them. They come out of the edge of these craters, so they must be coming from underground onto these, just under the surface. And if that's true, then they're probably building right there under the surface, or they have their way of making their own metals and their own stuff, kind of like what we do. We find what we can use here on Earth and we build. You know, I don't know. You know, there's no way of knowing. All we can do is speculate, but that would be my guess, is that they're using the materials that are on the moon. And this is the reason why a lot of the stuff, they're trying to utilize the lunar surface. That's why they look like they're, it looks natural. It's like literally embedded into the surface or under, right? What's going on, Valerian the Mac 3? Good to see you in there, man. Oh, yeah. Oops, they just jumped on me again. Charlie, Earth Final Conflict was a snore fest. Wasn't that the one that had John Travolta in it? Yeah, like it was kind of like this alien kind of thing. I think I seen a short part of it. I'm just like, yeah, this is not for me. I'm good. James, you said, Chris, I said earlier they lied about wars. They lied about killing presidents. They lied about 9/11, and they are lying about the dark budget. Do people think they are honest about UFOs? Yeah, right. Well, no, clearly they're not. They're not going to divulge any of that. And like I said, it's so 1930s. They don't care. They're just like, they're so over it. It's like if you went to an abandoned city and you looked over every inch of the place, and then, you know, let's say it was 10 years since you've been back there, and somebody goes, hey, you wouldn't believe it, man. I found this cool city. Where's that at? Oh, it's over here about a mile down the road. It's hidden between all the trees. I've been there, done that. Oh, come on, we got to go. You're not interested. You don't care. You really don't care. It's like, it's just old hats. You know, you're just like, okay, been there, done that. They don't care. Before, during these, you know, these missions, you know, they probably scoped it out with actual telescopes and looked it over and said, okay, send people there. And, ooh, the big hoopla. And, you know, we found what looked like desolate spaceships there, dilapidated structures, all kinds of stuff there. And they're going, we know it's up there. In fact, we actually have our own base up there. So we're actually, it's an ongoing thing that we're looking over everything that's on the moon. They probably built their own stuff up there by now, meaning other than the base. And they're probably doing all kinds of top secret stuff up there. We don't know that. We don't know what's going on. I have a feeling that's what's been going on since and prior to the moon missions, or it just never stopped, like I said many times before. So I think this has been going on for years. And if it's true, then they have plenty of people up there, and they have people working up there like you do here on Earth. Metalhead, you said that's why they're mining on the moon. Materials for craft. Oh, structures, you name it. That was a good movie, Steve. Or I should say series. The 4400. That was pretty good. Not much, Valerian. You said, what's going on, Mars? Not a whole lot. Just chilling. Hope you checked out the new video, by the way. Yep, like Steve was saying, he's talking to Metalhead, saying in helium-3. Absolutely. Long Island, New York, it says CIA is covering up the UFOs. That's true. Listen, the government's going to cover these things up and then claim, oh, we didn't know they were real. I mean, come on. I mean, all we have to do is the pictures tell all. They can say what they want, but when you analyze these photos of the moon and Mars, it literally screams 1,000 words. I don't have to hear anybody say anything, and I'm smart in that. I actually heard some people talking about, I don't know if it was like a sci-fi movie or something like that. This is in public. I heard these people talk, oh, do you really think there's actually life out there? I think we're the only ones. I went, oh my God, I'm not even going to get there. I'm not even going to get involved. I don't want to just like totally cook this guy's melon, really bake his noodle for him. I'm just, yeah. I was going, really? Are you that close-minded? All right, Mars Leaks, have yourself a good one. Good seeing you there. He said, see you all way past bedtime here. All right, man, have a good one. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Metalhead, yeah, you hit this one right on the head. You said, folks, the government will not give honest disclosure. We are the disclosure. Boots on the ground, people with scopes and cameras. Yeah, for you and I, people like you and I could go there. Like, let's say you were a stowaway, right? And you can get on there and somehow get back to Earth or transmit this information back. That's the only way this is going to happen. That's what's crazy. Oops. And just jumped on me again. I don't have one of those at the moment, Mr. Bride. You said, could you pull a raw picture of the Theophilus crater? No, I can't right now, but I'm going to probably check that out a little bit more because I've seen pictures of it, but never really got into it. So we're definitely, man, that's a good idea. I think we'll ramp into that. We'll go into that. Oh man, he said 3-density spirit system. They can't talk in aliens. 2014, they can know. We paid our way to galaxy for 3-density. Huh. Not familiar with that. Oops. Oliver Klein, what's going on? I think I seen you slip in there earlier. What's going on? Good to see you in there. Oh yeah, don't even get me started on that, Oliver. You said even better when people say Earth is flat under a dome with no space. Wow. Yep. Whitebeard Sky Daddy says every place Earth humans have sent machine probes, there are ruins and evidence of intelligent activity. Well, yeah, and that's only what they're showing us. So we have no idea. And like I said, I'm you know, again, it's pure speculation, but I think something's been on every moon, in every planet in the solar system. People go, like I said, we talked about this before, where they go, what about the gaseous planets? What about the ones that have the real bad atmospheres and, like the runaway greenhouse, kind of atmospheres? What about it? If you live underground or in a dome, you make your own atmosphere. You can live anywhere. It doesn't matter. As long as it's sealed off, you're fine. In other words, underground, and all of that stuff is above, what do you care? You're not going to care. People say, oh, you couldn't breathe that air if you wanted to. Okay, that's true. Doesn't mean you couldn't live in a dome, again, with a controlled atmosphere of the gases that you breathe in, or live underground, again, with your own atmosphere. It could be the most hostile planet in the universe. It doesn't matter as long as you can, as long as you can live underground and within your own, bubble, so to speak, right? Let's see. Whitebeard's Guy Daddy said, I resent every official statement released regarding this topic. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. National governments are out of chances. That's true. I mean, they've lied so often. Why would you believe the government, anything the government's got to say, right? Miss Rita Bride, you said, do you share what you see on the moon and Mars with your friends, or do you only tell them if they ask? Only tell them if they ask. I'll tell you why. And you know this for yourself. The average person, I've said this a million times, the average person, ask any of your friends or anybody you know, what do they think about the latest Perseverance photo of Mars? And what would their reaction be? Yeah. They wouldn't know. The Perseverance, what's that? The rover that's on Mars. I bet they don't care enough. It's, I want to see what the Kardashians are doing. I want to see if she can blow up her ass any more than she can. I want to sit down after I eat my dinner, and I just want to watch sitcoms until I get tired and go to bed and then repeat the next day. They don't care. It's only people who are like really wanting to know because it's something that intrigues them. And of course, it depending on how far you want to go down the rabbit hole, because this can get very deep, but some of it, some people make stuff up and it's like, gets really deep. You got to save the watch, if you know what I mean. So, like I said, a lot of these people that are out there want to embellish and do a lot of silly crap. And it's like, to me, I just don't get into that. I go, look, I want to do simplistic stuff, show what I see in these photos, convey it to you folks, and then you can just get the photo yourself and you can do the same thing, right? And you can see for yourself that it's there. When you can't show somebody this, and it's like I said, when you, like we were talking about David Icke earlier, okay? It's like me, I could be him. I could say, well, there's a scientist there was a scientist friend that I knew that, years ago, we were off the coast of the Pacific, we were on some island, and we found this trap door, which we thought was really weird because it looked like something from a World War I or World War II bunker. So we went into it, and what we found was this kind of transport kind of elevator system that went down deep into the earth, and it was probably about 250 feet down. Once we got out of this thing, it was like a built-in city. There's a whole city underground in this cavern, and it was completely, nothing was alive in there, but everything was still powered up. It was like they abandoned it. And I could go in and I can embellish. Why? Because I can't show you proof, so I can get away with it. So I can come up with this crap all day long. Basically a sci-fi writer, I'm just not writing in books. And all I got to do is just keep spewing out the same garbage. And then all I got to do is just, okay, wait a minute. I got to add to the story somehow so I can stay relevant. This is what I'll do. We found that there's a couple cryo chambers that we brought them back to life, and they were telling us about this civilization, and they were telling us, you know what I mean? I can go on and on and on and on. And it's beautiful because I don't have to show you proof. I'm just telling you a story. And each year, I'll just make sure I keep my story straight, and next year I'll just embellish a little bit more and add to the story. So Doing this, what I do, I get to show you the photo that I'm analyzing, so you see this for yourself. You make your own decision. I'm not seeing it. Oh yeah, wow, I see it too, because I can enhance it just like I do, or somebody else here does, and I can see exactly what they're talking about. You make your own decisions based on what you see. Simple as that. But when you're a storyteller, you can keep going on and on and on about it, and you don't have to show any proof. That's the beautiful part of it. James Craig, thanks for your support, brother. I appreciate it. You said, Chris, LOL, yep. Kardashian and their backsides. Damn. A little too much. Let me see. I see him jumping there too. I just seen somebody mention Sky Blue. I didn't know he was in there too. Anyway, if you're in there, I'll say hello, Sky Blue. Metalhead, he said, there is plenty of ancient domes on the moon. It's been done. There you go. And we've seen that. No, Metalhead, he's telling you the truth, Robert. I mean, he said, we keep hearing it. It's been done on Dream. No, it's absolutely, we've seen either structures or what look like caved-in structures. I've got photos where it shows like this spacecraft like leaning inside craters. There's one that has, it looks like almost like a, what do you call those? Those giant containers you see on ships that they ship from like other countries over to whatever other country. And this thing is incredibly large. And it's on the lunar surface, just sitting on the surface. Seen so many things, it's not even funny. Will look like cities all over the place. You just gotta look for this. Most of these things are actually washed out, completely whited over. You just have to get through that and bring out all the dark areas that were intended to be in the photo and seen by you and I, and you'll find it. I was just saying the same thing, Terry, Calvin. Good question. You said, Chris, the Dora Mars photo is very interesting, but I'm left wondering why NASA never altered it. Like I said, it could have been something that the AI, they got a computer doing all of these now instead of them actually doing it. Save some time and money because you got, you know, X amount of people in the I call it the manipulation section, the CGI section, whatever. Is it possible that it thought it was just a hole in the rock and it just totally avoided it and kept going? But there are some things near the front of the entrance that are all over the ground they knew was there and they blocked out. And there's other parts in that photo they've done the same, and that's what I show in the video that I just posted today. Steve Garnham, you said, Chris, why are there only, seems to be hills on the moon photos and no jagged mountains? There's no erosion on the moon. Well, there's no erosion on the moon, question mark? Well, see, that's the thing. Every time we see a photo, what do you see? Doesn't it look like a lot like we see on Mars? We see what looks like these buttes, only they're kind of rounded, kind of flat sometimes, but they've been doing this since the moon photos. They take like a template and they drop it on top of whatever they're trying to hide. They always look like these mounds, these giant mounds, and they're always that milky white kind of washed out kind of hill. And yet the rest of it's not that bad. Now we know from other photos that there is actually dark soil there. So why is everything so whited out every time we see it? There's a good reason for it. I brought out one photo on that where it shows, and I think I talked about this, where you see the moon buggy, you see the astronaut, he's way off in the distance, but all in the background, I could see like an outline of these what look like structures or weird kind of machines, and when you use the burn tool, it popped them right out. Oh my God, they were all around that astronaut. It was crazy. So those are like a template they put over there because they almost look all the same. And then you look at the Mars photos, they're the same thing. The only difference is they're making it look like dirt and they're mounds, and they're not. They're something much more different. And even if some of them are actually mounds, they're built into them then, one way or the other. Getting that time, folks, getting that time. Almeri says, some people saying we have 40 planets in our solar system, not 9. Earth is 39. Moons full of aliens and planets. Well, that's true. Now, I heard, last time I heard, Almir, was that there was at least 23 planets at the time. This was years ago. And that a couple of the scientists are coming out with that. Of course, you know, like I said, their colleagues are going, oh, no, that's not true. It is true. They're outside of past Pluto, which they can now consider a body and not so much a planet, but it's out past that. And they said that we actually have more planets going around our sun. So there is at least 23 and plus planets out there and moons. So there is more to our solar system than what we've been told, and they're starting to see more and more of these. Or it's not they were lying about it, they simply didn't know up till X amount of time, right? So, yeah. Well, they call it a doorway, Steve. It's a doorway. It's not a door in that photo. It's an entrance. Yep, exactly. Metalhead, you said, going to start a channel after I sell 2 houses that I have, renovating. That'd be awesome. I think more and more people should get on this, right? Mick, you taking off? You said, have a good weekend. All right, Mick, I'm glad you were here, man. I think you said you came in late earlier, but I'm glad you were here, and thanks for being here, right? Yeah, have yourself a good evening, a good weekend. Unfortunately, I still got, my week doesn't end, man. I still got to go back to work. It's going to be a nightmare tomorrow. I'm not even going to get into it because it's just going to be crazy. But one thing at a time. That's all you can do. I was just hoping to be a shorter day, but I don't think that's going to happen. It'll be an all-day career, trust me. It'll suck. But it is what it is, and that's why they call it work. It's a pain in the rear end. Terry Gelling, your question was, have you seen the sci-fi movie Iron Sky? I have. I've seen parts of it. And it looked like it was pretty good, but it kind of looked kind of silly at the same time, if you will, with the Nazis and stuff like that. It seemed like a good movie, but it's just kind of weird if you've seen it, the way they had it, the special effects and everything else. It was an out there kind of movie, but I thought it was pretty decent. I mean, I don't know how you would rank it, but yeah, I don't know. But thanks for your support, man. I do appreciate you, helping out the channel. You too, as always, James. James, you know that. What did I say? Chris, let's get real for a second, man. I can only say that if, by any chance, someone is unsure about the truth, I say this to them, watch Chris's vids. Well, I mean, anybody who's doing these videos and show, like I said, I always say this. If you watch, let's say I got 350 videos. If you watch one and go, wow, I can't even make, I can't get in my head that that's natural. It looks like it's been intelligently made. You have to question that. It only takes one good piece. People are going, I'm still waiting for your smoking gun. I don't know how many I have to show. I really don't. Now, to some people, they may go, it kind of does, but I'm not totally convinced. Well, there's no way to totally convince anybody because you can't get a crystal clear photo. Now, the one on the moon, which shows the structures, all I do is highlight them more and just bring up the brightness of those areas. They literally look like structures. They are on the surface. So those, the one that looks like those what look like vehicles are being washed down a crater wall on Mars. They look like something we'd have here on Earth. I don't know how much more people want. I mean, it's like clearly that doesn't look normal or natural. So if it's not normal and natural, what is it? It can only be unnatural and not normal. So hence the, intelligently made perhaps? I mean, we can only speculate because, again, we can't really pick it up, see it, or anything like that. But the thing is, when you see something that looks totally different from its surroundings, you can't help but to question it. It's as simple as that. Marina Rapan, what's going on? Happy to join from Ukraine. Unfortunately, you're just getting in as we're getting out. I wish you had been here earlier, but I'm glad you're here anyway. I'm glad you made it. That's cool that you did. Oh, cool, Metalhead. I'd love to see those. You said I have 100+ videos I filmed myself just waiting to be uploaded. Well, let me know when you do. And, of course, we'll send everybody over there to check them out. You know what I mean? Get you kicked up there and get people viewing. Because I'm always down for some good stuff, you know what I mean? Some people do these videos about the moon and stuff like that, and you know how they're full of, you know what. Hey, I'm with Metalhead on this. He said, thank God we pray for you guys, Marina. Yeah, I'm the same way. I just, I can't even imagine being, being in that situation. Yeah, unfortunately, Marina, we're going to be getting out of here. He says, session ending soon. But keep in mind, you can always go back to it, which is good. But yeah, I got to jump off this thing because I got to be in bed by 9 to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So that's always fun. And, it's going to be a long day, like I said. And Mistreated Bride, he said, have you thought about getting a telescope to see the moon? I thought about that, or a P1000 like Metalhead and a couple of the guys are talking about. I thought about doing that, but we're talking about, depending on the kit you get, what is it, guys? Is it like $1,200, $1,300 for those cameras? I know the P900s are, they're cheaper, but the 1000's better. I think it's got an extra regular mechanical zoom as well as a digital zoom. I haven't really, it's been a long time since I've checked them out since they come out. So I'm not really 100% sure, but yeah, I'd love to get one, at least the P1000. But I don't have that kind of money right now, so I'd have to actually fund it, if you will. Crowdfund. That's fresh. But yeah, I'd love to be able to do that. Ricardo Petrazzi, thank you, sir, for your support. As always, I do appreciate you. He said, the battle for free speech is more than just the right to say or express an opinion. It's essential for the free intellectual inquiry that we practice here on a regular basis. That's true. Absolutely true. Nailed it. And that's what it's really about, right? It's not about, it's the fight for actually free speech and not so much what we say as far as like the content of certain videos. But yeah, I mean, it's like they're slowly taking this away from us. Look at other countries. You can't even speak up a little bit and you'd be jailed or shot and killed. It's crazy, right? So, like I said, a lot of, I'm sure a lot of you guys are the same way. My heart goes out to anybody in the Ukraine, and I hope, like Marina, you're safe and, your family's safe, if whoever you got over there. My heart goes out to them people. It really does. Sky Blue, so we see primitive structures and advanced technology. There seems to be a story here. That's true. Pete Ferreira, the Starlink is working. Yay, Elon. Oh, yeah. James Cragen, thank you again, sir, for your support, as always. Always a supporter of in the super chat and of the channel. I will say it again. They never stop going up. Totally agree with you. That is a fact. Whitebeard Sky Daddy said, yeah, when something like the recent doorway is debated, I think back to some things like the wheel and others. I have an image of a big chunk of machinery that I pulled from one of Jean's. Well, that's true. So your mind tells you, look, I'm seeing rocks, dirt, rocks, and hills and everything. Well, wait a minute. What is this object? It looks nothing like it. That's why they call it an anomaly. It's different from all its surroundings. There's something different about it. What is it? Is it natural? If it's not natural, then it's unnatural. What is it? Is it made or is it unmade? It can only be made if it's not natural. You would think, anyway. So you have to question that. You have to say, listen, I'm not sure what this thing is. I don't know what it is, but I do know that that doesn't look natural. Like I said, I've said this many times kidding around. I said, we can call this Humpty Dumpty for all I care. The point is, it's not a rock, and it's not something you would expect to see on the lunar or the Martian surface. What is it? If it's not natural, it's got to be unnatural. If it's unnatural, is it intelligently made? Chances are that's what we're seeing. Good question, Ms. Treated Bride. You said, let's assume that the beings contact you and tell you the reality of everything. What would you do with that information? Would you share it? Absolutely. I couldn't get to the computer fast enough. In fact, I wouldn't make a recording of it. I'd just go live feed. Absolutely. It's something everybody here should know and should be privy to. That's not something you go, shh. You know, I'm not the government. I'm not going to keep it secret. You know, if somebody, one of these people from one of these space agencies decided to send me a photo and said, listen, you know, obviously it's, you know, it's anonymous. You can't write back to them, whatever. You can't trace it. And they gave it to me and they said, just be careful with this information. I'd send it out. I'd share it to the world. In fact, I'd make sure, I'd make sure that I'd announce it for at least a few days to a week, make sure everybody's on board, got everybody together, and I would share it. Everybody's like, well, aren't you worried about what could happen? Well, yeah, you got a family, so clearly you're going to worry to a certain degree. But, you know, I got ways to protect myself. I got cameras around the house, and that's not because I'm worried about, I'm worried about my own shadow. It's nothing to do with that. It's in this day and age, you have to be that way, you know what I mean? So I can see you coming from a mile away. And, you know, pretty handy with a piece, too, so. James, there you go. Chris, Ricardo, let's not forget the cloth. Poor guys. Gotta clean them lenses again. Thanks again, James. The Street of Bride, your question was, is it possible that the beings are blackmailing our government? For example, if they tell humans about, if they tell humans about them, will destroy our planet? Thoughts? I don't know. I don't know if that would be like that. Because they just feel that, think about it, if you were an alien talking to our government leaders, right, the government's going to go, listen, the people are nothing but a bunch of sheep. You know, we can tell them anything, we can get them off it easily. In fact, why don't we do this? Why don't we create a war, oops, to distract the public? We'll get them thinking, oh my God, there's a war, there's a pandemic, there's this, there's that, the other. Now, are these fake? No, they're all real. But if I was to occupy your brain and your eyes, watch what the right hand's doing, forget about what the left hand's doing. That's what it's all about. I don't think they'd have to go through that. You know, and besides, the aliens would be so high-tech that they're not worried about killing us off, you know, because they just go, they're so primitive. Why, you know, what's the point of killing them off? You know, and they're probably going to say, they need to know that we're here because, can you imagine that? They literally came to Earth and they were friendly, and they, you know, landed on the White House, on the White Horse? Well, White Horse too. On the White House lawn, if you landed there, you know, because that's what they said. Some people said that's what it's going to take for people to believe. But then some people say, it's fake. But think about it. If they got the technology, they just go, we can come and go as we please. We're not worried about these people. I mean, this civilization that's here, come on. So I don't think that's the case, to be truthful with you. I don't think they'd be, you know, like you said, blackmailing or anything of that sort. Bush Corey Gaz is, I'm back, sorry, been at work on break, so hello, ha. Ricardo. Talking to James Reagan and me. Right on, brother. The best microfiber lens clothing going. Clothes going. Oh, that's funny. They need it, the poor guys. But, like I said, do they actually need it, or are they just going, like I said, some of the guys are going, I'm just going to slip this one out. Little breadcrumb for these guys. You know, give us a little extra love sometimes, you know. Could very well be. Whitebeard Sky Daddy said, guys, the truth of our space neighborhood is known to some. The master doesn't tell the slave his plans as a general rule. We all fund everything on that end of the economy. Well, this is true, you know. And it's like I said, I'm just thinking about it. I want you to just envision yourself like top brass. You guys are the elite. The, you know, like the, what's the word I'm going to use? Like I said, just basic elites. You're way above the president. You're way above all of that. Black ops kind of thing, right? I want you to envision you looking down at the population. You know so much about what's out there. Civilization, spacecraft, propulsion, and you've been possibly to other planets. You come back here and you look at us, just the human beings, the public, and you go, damn, how sad is this planet? I would, and I'm not saying I wouldn't love the people, but I'm saying when you see something that awesome and without words, you can't even explain it, and you come back here, it's so, ugh. So how do you think the other civilizations look at us? They're just like, oh, these poor little things are just starting out like we did millions of years ago. Oh, that's so sad. Think about it. It would be like, yeah, just envision that for a moment. It's still there, James, as far as I know. I don't know when it took its last flight. Your question was, what happened to the helicopter on Mars, man? I know it did a flight not long ago, and I don't know too much more about it. I haven't really been checking it out, but every time it makes a flight, I mean, I try to, you know, and try to get in there. I think the last one they had was when they had the debris from the landing apparatus for the Perseverance. We had the parachute and everything else. Now, this is what, guys, about a week and a half ago, maybe? So, I don't know. Ricardo, there you go, the Moody's. Remember that? If you had a good sound system and it's like ding, ding, ding at the end and you breathe deep. You can hear the bass and everything else. The gathering room. Watch lights fade from every room. Better sisters, people lack and lament. Another day's useless and energy spent. Yep. Good song. Nights in White Satin. Metalhead, you said, I believe, Travis, when it happened, it was all over the news. Now I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, you had other people talking about it as far as what happened to Travis and his other two buddies and how they stayed behind and he got abducted and all this other stuff. I still believe there's some truth to that, although some people picked it apart and said, oh, he was lying about the whole thing. That's a possibility because, think about it, some people just want that 5 minutes of fame. You know, they write a book, they get this, they get all kinds of royalties from it, and they live pretty large. And then it comes out later on, oh, they lied. It doesn't matter. They lived large for their lives. Why do they care? At this point, they just go, oh, you're a hoaxer and you're full of crap. And they go, yeah, well, you can say that. I'm driving on a Mercedes and I live in a mansion, so call me what you will. That's why these people don't care. Well, it is actually believable, Long Island, New York, because you said the belly, yeah, I can't speak with the shit tonight. The Betty Hill abduction seems more believable. It is. They passed with flying colors. When they had it done, keep in mind, you have, you know, the husband was colored and she was white. It was totally taboo to even come forward. But now they want to come forward with being abducted. So it's even more craziness, right? So what they did was they separated them. I'm sure you know the story. They separated them into two different rooms, and they gave lie detector tests, and they both passed with flying colors. So what's that tell you? It's one thing if one of them failed it, and the other one's like she's trying to make up a story, he's trying to make up a story, and somehow The other one's full of it, and they can just sense it. It's like all over the place, and he's lying like a rug. And she tells the truth. Okay, did she get abducted and he didn't, and vice versa? I don't know. But they both told the truth. They both passed. What's that tell you? Lapis, he said, alien tech is low tech somehow. None of the unsafe electronics they brought us, I guess. Well, their tech we probably couldn't figure out. I would think that, now some of the stuff is probably simplistic, meaning it's not much different from what we own, but, you know, like how they control the spacecraft, it's probably all just by telepathy, and, you know, they just, you know, just like they put on a spacesuit and it just goes through what they think and it just maneuvers. It could be anything like that, right? Or is it a little bit more primitive than we think it is? Don't know. If you have anti-gravitics, that solves a whole lot of problems. You know, you can take off like Star Trek, you see them warp factor 10, and they're gone. You don't see them plastered up against the wall. So it's basically you got your own environment inside the craft, and it doesn't affect your body in any way, shape, or form, and you're gone. But, so, yeah. It's hard to tell exactly what their technology would be. Miss Frida Bride said, could you search Admiral William H. McRaven, retired SEAL? Yeah, I know who exactly you're talking about. Did you watch the video? It's 3 minutes long. I'm not going to bring it up now because we're actually ready to sign off right now. In fact, we're going to. Yeah, I'll check it out, and maybe we can do that next time, and we can. I'll watch the video. I think I've seen it though. There were several people that actually posted that same video, so I'm almost positive I've seen it. But I'll check it out again to be on the safe side. In other words, because I want to check it out anyway. If it's something I haven't seen, I'd love to see it. You know, so yeah. Bush Corey said, we can survive on Mars if we're lower altitude. Yeah, I mean, if you're really pretty much close to the ground, there's oxygen and everything. So I think there's a lot of things that are alive on Mars. Either creepy crawlies or something that's low to the ground. Got everything settles to the ground. It's like being on Earth. You'd have to go to a certain elevation to get really, really thin air. So, but what if Mars has got a lot less of it, but the closer you get to the ground, same thing as Earth, you can breathe. It's probably the same thing. Ricardo, he said, Richard Hoagland used to talk about finding the libraries, repositories of the ancient alien knowledge, those remnants of technologies which we can learn from. Yeah, because what was it before? They said that there was a civilization. Now, this is supposed to be buried in a cave. They'd have to go into like this lake, go into this cave, and come back up, and there's supposed to be all of these golden, like you said, libraries, repositories of these, and it'd be like these giant plates and stuff, and they had the stories, and supposed to be like a library of this ancient technology. And I'm trying to remember exactly where that was from. I'm not sure. Let's see. Kurt Urbanus, he said, Mars, not enough pressure. If you go by what NASA's telling us, I agree with you. I don't believe that's the case. Again, they keep saying it's a red sky, and it's not. It's just not. Like I said, when you can flip it from within less than a minute from a blue to a red sky, you know it's fake. They're showing us a fake sky. So I don't believe a thing that they say as far as pressure. I don't believe that you and I couldn't not breathe on the surface of that planet. Let's say it's hard to breathe. Okay, but you can still breathe, you know. So at the very least, you'd probably have to, okay, I'll just bring some breathing apparatus and I can walk around on the planet in the middle of summer at the equatorial region. Obviously, you wouldn't want to be any higher, you know, anywhere closer to the poles because, yeah, you'd be pretty much dead because of the cold, and especially in the time of the year because it has seasons the same thing Earth does. So dead of summer, equatorial region, it can get up to, I heard, 104 degrees and maybe a little more. and the average is around 60, 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And of course it gets cold, and it gets cold at night. It's kind of like I said here, in the wintertime, you pray for it to be cloudy. When it warms up during the day, you pray for it to be cloudy overnight because it holds the heat in. It's like a blanket over the area, and it holds all the heat from just escaping into the sky, and that's when it cools off quickly at night in the wintertime. Well, if they don't have any clouds or not much of it, any heat's dissipated almost instantly the second the sun goes down. So you definitely don't want to be on the surface, right? Yeah. Odds and Crafts. I think I seen you sneak in here earlier. I'm glad you're here. Glad to see you in there. Ricardo, you said, Chris, if you have the time, please add some links to things you've mentioned in the Discord server. Well, what I'm going to do is, like always, I'm going to give you guys these links too, and you guys can always, share them in there as well. So yeah, I mean, if I have any other ideas, I'll do that. But if you get a chance too, Ricardo, it'd be a big help. Like I said, I'll leave the links here right after this live ends. I'll leave the links, and you guys can just grab them, and you can throw them up there if you want as well, which will help. People can just check them out and see what's going on. At least you have those to go through too. Robert Morgan said, "Good night, everyone. I got to check out. Can't stand anymore. It's at a 9. I guess it's at 9 o'clock. All right. Good having you in there, Robert. You have yourself a good one there. We'll talk to you soon." Mistreated Bride, you said, if it's possible these beings are on the moon and other planets and moons, do you think they are on Earth as well, maybe underground? It's a strong possibility. It's kind of like I said, we have DUMBs here. We have deep underground military bases. We have tunnels that go from West Coast to East Coast. So we're doing that just to travel. If you look up, just look that up, DUMBs, and you see there's one video I seen years ago. There's a truck driver, and this guy literally went over to one of these hill entrances, and he says, he's asking the truck driver, "Hey, where you going?" "I got to drive all night." He says, "Through here?" He says, "Oh, yeah." He says, "I drive 10 hours, 12 hours, and I'm all underground. There's no above ground. It's all underground." He's like, "You got to be kidding." No. So you can drive literally from West Coast to East Coast and anywhere in between underground. Think about it. If we were to be bombed tomorrow, it wouldn't matter. You could still, the United States would still function one way or the other. Stuff would be getting around underground. Nobody would be none the wiser. It could be pure pandemonium on the Earth's surface, but everything's still traveling underground. But I strongly believe that's a good possibility, Mistreated Bride. Absolutely. I'm not so sure about that, Richard Bunt. You said if a human stepped out on a foot on Mars, even wearing a spacesuit on, it would be instant death. I don't think that's true. There is oxygen on Mars, but again, it's going by X amount of feet above the surface, so therefore it's thin, and they say you can't breathe it. Well, I mean, there is people, and you can look this up on Google, that there's people here on Earth that live on these highest elevations where the oxygen is so thin, and guess what? Most of the elders are 100 plus, up to 120, a little over 120 years old. So they garden every day. They eat off the stuff that they grow, and they live for like good, rightful old age. So I mean, if you were real close to the ground on Mars and not on a hilltop, maybe it's the equivalent of being on a high mountain, only you're close to the ground, but you can still breathe it. Now, if you're used to X amount of volume of air and oxygen, and you go there, yeah, it might be an issue. It's like instantly snapping your fingers and being up on the top of a mountain right now, which incredibly high altitude, you'd probably be gasping for air. But what happens if you get used to it, or you were born and raised in it? It wouldn't be an issue. James Reagan says, "Chris, man, great hangout again tonight, and great comments from everyone. So You and all take care and be safe, and we will talk soon, my friends. Absolutely, James. As always, it's good to see everybody here. And we going to jump off this bad whamma jamma. So, this was in southern India, I think it was. This was taken. This is, I think this is a meteor. It was like copper meteor, and it glowed like a green. I saw that on Facebook. I took a snapshot of that. Pretty cool. But anyway, so I'm going to let everybody go. I appreciate everybody being here and all the support you guys show. It means a lot to me, and I do mean that from the heart. It's good to hang out with you guys every Friday evening, and before, like I said, I just kind of wish I didn't have to work Saturday, because it'd definitely make my my evening. But it is what it is, right? But like I said, I appreciate everybody being here, and all the questions and the comments and the feedback, and like I said, the extra love you guys show with the support of the channel. Like I said, whether it's through the super chat, which you guys always do, or like I said, I always put the PayPal link at the top so people can do it that way. I said before, some people just feel weird about doing it right there in the super chat, and I get that, I understand. Or some people say it doesn't work, so they end up using that. So I appreciate either way you guys do it. It definitely helps out the channel. And like I said, I was glad I was able to get that other video, because I wanted to get that out. Wanted to get it out yesterday, actually, but I wasn't able to get the time to do it. So I said I'm going to try to get this thing out today, and I did. I got it out, what was it, an hour maybe before jumping on here. So at least you guys got a little something to watch. If you haven't watched it, it's just awesome. Go check it out. And as far as, is that my voice? What was somebody saying? Yeah, if you guys haven't hit the thumbs up and the like button, please do so. Thumbs it up. I appreciate you guys. But yeah, so it's always fun to hang out with you guys, and it's a good pastime. And I didn't even, to be truthful, I wasn't even going to try to be on this long, but I just love just chilling with you guys, because the week is so, it can be hectic. So it's good to be able to relax and chill with you guys and have good conversation, questions, and go back and forth and check out these things ourselves. And it's just cool to be able to see. So, I appreciate all of you for all that you guys do as well. It's not just me. It's just for you guys being there. And I know it helped a lot of you folks during the pandemic, and it helps you a lot to get away from the BS of everything that goes on today. So that's another reason why I do it. It's an escape as well. It's not just to share information and stuff we found and stuff like that, but it's an escape from all the BS, like I said, that's going on in the world. So I can appreciate that as well, right? So anyway, I'm going to jump off this thing, and I'm going to let you guys go, and hopefully everybody has a good evening, great weekend. Hopefully you don't have to work like I do tomorrow, and you can have an extended weekend. But yeah, let's see. Long Island says, yeah, smash the like button. Great fireballs, green fireballs, Kurt Abana said. Okay. Yeah, Renee, isn't that cool? The green, it's pretty sweet. I think it's more of a copper. That's why it's got that green going on there. But that's kind of a pretty picture there, showing it like that. Anyway, we won't hold you guys up anymore. I'm going to let everybody go. Thanks again for everybody being here. Appreciate all the support. I mean that. Much love to all you guys. Stay safe. We'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.